Let's get this thing cooking. We're right on the hour. So that being said, hey, Monday is utilized for Q&A, questions and answers, and all questions are nothing's off the table. Whatever challenges you might be dealing with, whatever concerns you might have, whatever things you may have heard about the trends of the industry and the direction people are going, well, we probably know something about it, and we're here to help. So with that, Roman, do we have any incoming questions, or should we make some up?
Not yet in the chat. So do you have something that came up maybe in the last week that you want to
Well,
talk about?
yeah, there's a lot of shenanigans. One of which is the idea that here it is, middle of summer, things have slowed down. Well, let me help you out with this. Uh, we can always speed things up based on one simple dynamic. And if things are slow in terms of the responses to the ads you're running and the number of people who are coming in to find about martial arts, there is another path you can take, and that is your current member base. What's interesting is that one of the strategies that Grandmaster Clark taught me years ago was the idea that everyone that's currently in your academy on a membership, although that's good news, the bad news is they're not on the right membership. This morning, his staff training call, he went around the room to 16 locations, and some of the studios had as much as 90% of their active membership in the highest level program. That's why they're doing so well. There's one gentleman, incidentally, his name is Master Ray. He's down in South Florida. Uh, he was just shy of 95K for the month of June. And by any standards, that's absolutely remarkable. And when Master Clark asked him what percentage of his membership were in leadership, and that's the highest level student membership. Now, there is one more level above that called coach, and I'll make mention in just a second. But the question was, what percentage of your current membership is in leadership? He said 95%. That's why he's doing so well. Listen, the most committed student, well, they have a lot in common. The most committed student happens to stay the longest. And that by itself tells you that that's where the majority of the income will come from. It always comes from your more committed student who's on a path, who's on a program that's going to take him somewhere. Now, his new goal is to have 50% of his membership that are above the age of 14, 15 to be in coach. So even in his academy, not everyone is in the right membership. So one of the things you can do for the month of July and August, if things are slow, is realize now is the time to sit down with each student, each family, and do what we call a checkup from the neck up and see if you can't realign their goals, if you can't re-energize their ambition and put them on a path and put them on a membership that's really going to matter. And what we're talking about now isn't a black belt offer, but a conversation that leads the charge, leads the way to help a student commit to a more advanced level black belt. In our organization, we consider third degree an advanced black belt, fourth degree an expert level black belt, fifth degree a master candidate, and sixth degree mastership. So right there, I think I just mentioned four more levels of commitment that you can help your students dial into. Now, when we talk about level of commitments, there are two strategies. One is to put it on paper, literally rewrite a membership agreement that would take them there. Another simple strategy is to have a conversation to help your students set the goal for that, not necessarily reorchestrate their agreement, but recommit them in the direction that they're going and what the outcome will potentially be. Ladies and gentlemen, of all the things you can do to further increase a student's retention, how long they stay with you, re-energizing their goals is perhaps number one. Now, if you're not interested in having a student revamp their membership, I'm certain they would be interested in perhaps saving money. So when you talk about setting long-term goals, don't discount the idea that a person won't commit to a third or fourth degree membership that may take them out 46, 60, 72 months. Because I'm telling you, they will. Now, before you go ahead and call foul saying, Fred, you can't support a 72-month membership, you can't support it in court. In other words, somebody decides to quit, you got to let them out. But sometimes just that level of commitment will deepen a student's resolve as far as staying a part of your membership and again having a bigger impact not only their lives but perhaps yours. So let's go ahead and I see a question. Is it tied into what I'm talking about, Roman?
The question is from Mr. Hackelman, which is, what things are you doing to bring more people into your gym?
Okay, all right, we'll come back to that. But in terms of the actual current membership, if summer has proven to be one of those times a year where there's a almost a mass exodus or people aren't coming in, the quick fix is to readjust in the mind's eye of the students you currently have where they're going. Now let's talk about what Master Hackelman asked about. First off, let's give that a name. We call that level one activity. And it's called level one because it's the first thing, the most important thing you have to do to steadily build your business, and that's acquire new students. And of course, we know that there are four marketing methods. And marketing is simply the term we use to label all the efforts to attract people. And the four types of marketing that we employ are online, offline, inline, and of course, what happens on the mat. So why don't we do a round robin and talk about what are we currently doing on the mat to build membership? And I think we can look at the on the mat activity three different ways. We can attract more family members onto the mat with the current student. We can encourage our current client base to bring family members, friends, coworkers, neighbors, and classmates. Or we can do what else? Energize some type of activity or program to gain interest in your community for people to come in and actually try something out, like maybe a self-defense or a Krav Maga or maybe a ground defense mini seminar that you solicit to the local businesses in your area and invite them to invite their clientele to come over and visit with you. So let's go ahead and talk about these on the mat activities. Matter of fact, we got a guy on the call here. If you don't know him, Richard Lights. Richard sold his studio last year, and after many, many years of successful operation, his last full year in business where he was at the helm, he enrolled over 500 students. Do the math on that. So, Richard, tell me some of the things you do on the mat, whether it's a class or some type of invitation we can offer to get people in to try us on for size.
Well, all different types of activities. I think something Master Clark taught us a long time ago. It's got to be something they want to go to. If it's a boring event they've done before 100 times, you're not going to get the interaction. So exciting events from board-breaking buddy days to different events. I would feed off that Karate Kid or anything else. I've been a Ninja Turtle, a Power Ranger. I've been Barney, every costume, every parade. You have to be like the virus. You have to be everywhere in your community. Any kind of event that's going on, fair, bazaar, parade, you got to be there.
But let's talk about what we can do in the academy. A lot of folks, their immediate go-to is, well, I got to offer some type of training. Well, I'm in agreement with that, but maybe there's also something else we can do to encourage our client base to invite people that may be a little reluctant, if not flat out hesitant about starting a membership. And that is maybe on the mat, offer something that's fun. Like, for example, I've signed up a lot of kids in my past experience by letting them pet an alligator. Now, listen, I'm not trying to be funny. I mean, literally, they got to pet an alligator. I brought in, what do you call those guys that work with reptiles? Oh, horticologists?
I've had that too.
Well, whatever it is. Okay. Anyway, I brought this guy in. He's dressed up in a safari outfit, with the safari hat and all that. And he talks about all the animals in the jungle and the rivers around the world. And he shares his Wild Kingdom collection with the audience, and there's a lot of interaction. Typically, this guy he charged about $500 to have him in, but he was worth every single dime. And by leveraging our membership to enthusiastically invite family, friends, coworkers, neighbors, and classmates into this event, we always signed up quite a few people. When I say quite a few people, 20, 30 folks would enroll in a trial, and typically half those people would convert to a membership. But this guy would start out by sharing his first animal. Again, it was always a lot of fun to watch. He had a little animal inside one of those takeaway Chinese boxes, those little boxes with the wire handle. And so he opens up and pulls out his first reptile, and it was a turtle. Anyway, make a long story short, he went from a turtle to a lizard to a snake to a whole bunch of different animals. And the grand finale was an alligator in a suitcase. And the highlight of the event was they got to either hold the alligator or pet the alligator, and everybody went home with one of those Polaroid images. What a spectacular event that was. And each time we did it, as I mentioned, we enrolled 30, 40 people into a trial, and typically would convert half those. So that's on the mat. So on the mat isn't just about martial arts. On the mat is when you deliberately do something, and sometimes there's an edge of entertainment to allow your students to invite people that they would like to introduced the idea of your academy to, and it's gangbusters. So that's one example. As far as offline are some of the things that Master Likes just mentioned. Booths, movie theaters, business to business, setting up a stand outside of a business that's attracting to a clientele, somewhere that you want to do business with. Master Pesky, explain some of the things we do during the summer months when those food trucks show up at the park.
Yeah, anytime there's an opportunity to get in front of our client, our potential clientele, we want to be there. So food truck events. Last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago now, there was a movie night in the park that we got to be a part of. We popped up a table, bring a bunch of little demo boards, let students break a board, allows us to shake hands with the moms, and schedule them to come in to take a tour and orientation. So anytime people, and another thing that we're doing right now, in addition to our Facebook and Instagram ads, is we're putting rack cards out in all the businesses that are within our 2 mile radius. And it's so easy to just walk in and say, hey, we're doing a program for kids. Is there somewhere I can leave this where it's not in your way?
What would you explain the rack card concept, sir?
The rack card is just our ad on a small 5x7 card. Actually, I think it's smaller than that. It's probably 4x6. We'll get them printed online for dirt cheap. And we put a stack of about 15 or 20 of them in every place we can find. But more importantly, it gives us an icebreaker to interact with people as well. So for example, if we go to our strip mall or any strip mall and you walk into every business that has a door that will open, and the pitch is super easy. Hey, we're doing a program for kids, and I was wondering if I can leave these where they're not in your way. That's it. In fact, usually if I've got a stack of cards, you're walking, hey, I've got a program for kids. It's okay if I leave these where they're not in your way, and I'll set them down right there where they're not in the way. And they usually go, yeah, okay. Why? It's for kids. Now, what's the rack card? The rack card's little card says 2 weeks for $20. It's our same offer. And if we can if I order 2,000 of them, that allows me to put 20 of them out in 200 businesses. So not only does that help the phone to ring, but it also allows me to interact with people all along the way. Hey, I bet you would love one of these. You have kids? Here, take one of these. And sometimes they say, no, thank you. Sometimes they go, oh, thanks. And they walk off. And sometimes they go, oh, we've been thinking about something like this. And the conversation begins. And what conversation do we have? The phone dialogue. Oh, what got you interested in doing martial arts for your kids? Oh, or what's prompted you in the past? We roll right. And this is why the phone dialogue is so important, because 98% of the conversations I will ever have at the first point of contact will very quickly and seamlessly roll into the same conversation. So again, that's actually how we built Carmichael back in 98, was every single day. Back then I was getting cardstock printed at Office Depot, but every single day, I would go out for an hour and just put out as many as I could. Some days it was 10 businesses, some days it was 25 businesses, but I would go out and make a point of putting them in businesses and saying hi and shaking hands with whoever was in charge when possible. And you can even offer to gift them something. Hey, you know what? I bet you and your employees, let me gift you guys 2 weeks free, just as a way of saying thanks. They usually don't take you up on it, but sometimes they do. But more importantly, it shows a goodwill, and it shows a law of reciprocation. Master Life, we're going to add something?
Yeah, so we had rack cards and ad cards. Ad cards are like twice the size of a business card. Like you said, the rack cards are a little longer ones. We got the plastic holders, so they look nice and neat, and they stand up, and we have them in the local businesses. But I would hit all the rec centers. There's so many rec centers going on, free rec centers, free summer camps that are going on. We did the gymnastics studio had theirs. We piggybacked with them. All the parks have rec programs. And we basically would go there, teach intro 1, invite them back to the studio on a Friday night or a Saturday. We'd have a big pizza party. One kid would break a board at the park. Who else wants to break a board? Every kid raised their hand. We come back to the studio on that Friday or Saturday. We get a chance to break a board, have a pizza party, earn their white belt, and we get a chance to present the program to the parents. But that's where go where the kids are at. Go where the kids are at this summer.
Excellent. Roman, would you read the question that popped up from Kyle?
Yeah, Kyle said, what do you do if a student wants to cancel their monthly tuition and do the last 30 days, but they might be toxic and you don't want them to be in the class? Do you give them the full refund and get them away from the group, or how would you handle something like that?
Well, if they're I'm trying to think of a fancy schmancy word to describe this. If they're adversarial, in other words, they're going to spend that last 30 days to get you back. Well, obviously you don't want them in. But let's talk about, or let's find out why they want to drop out. Is it a schedule conflict? Is it a financial upset? Did something happen on the mat that shouldn't have? Kyle, you want to mute yourself and share?
Loser. How you doing?
I've been doing
Can
well.
you hear
Good
me?
morning, sir.
Oh, righty. Yeah, no, we just had a student that arrived an hour earlier before the class. We let him know that, we were in the middle of a private session and they just come back in an hour. And the guy's I think he's a little bit on the spectrum, and I felt like maybe he took it personally that he couldn't come into the class, and then he just was like, oh, and he started going into his personal life story, and then he said, he just wanted to cancel, and he wanted to just run the 30 days left and finish. So but I
Okay,
feel like maybe he might I'm sorry, go ahead.
so we're talking about an adult student, or this is a parent about a child?
It's an adult.
Well, give them the option. Say, Timmy, I want you to leave happy, so we can do one of two things. Either you can participate as a serious student for the next 30 days, or I can simply go ahead and refund your last month of training. Which will work best for you? Yeah, give options. And if you do something like that, what it tells this person is that you are interested in trying to remedy their upset or their concern. But the truth is, when somebody quit, they typically don't continue. So, perhaps that's a ploy of his or hers, whoever this person is, to, save face. So just drill down to it. Now, first off, did he or she explain why they wanted to drop out and cancel their membership?
They did. They said that I guess that they felt like what was it? I don't know. It's from one of my partners spoke to him. I don't know the full details of it, but I guess he saw that I was inside. I was handling some stuff, and then he saw me leave the facility, and I guess he thought I was ignoring him. So he took it upon himself to say, you know what? I don't even want to be around you guys. You don't care. It's
Well,
kind of
okay.
a little bit weird. Like I said, a little on the spectrum, a little bit.
Well, typically when things happen, particularly things that upset, it wasn't the first time, and it's certainly going to be the last time. So maybe one of the things you need to pick up and allow your staff to use is explain when somebody comes in and it's not the right time, tell them why so. Like, for example, if you're in the middle of teaching a private lesson or you have an appointment to keep, just say, well, Mr. Lewis, I'm interested in helping you out. It's important to me that we resolve this issue either way, but now is not the right time. So, not to be distracted and to give you my undivided attention, let's do this. Let's synchronize our watches. And we can either meet over the phone or in person to address your concerns and figure out a way to help you, figure out the way to help you best. So maybe there was a degree of miscommunication they felt they were blown off. But typically, when somebody decides to quit, they very seldom, if ever, use their final 30 days. Mash Pesky, back me up on this one.
Our first go to is, hey, no problem. Obviously try to save it. What are you talking about? You don't want to quit. What's really going on? And we have a conversation with them so we can't redirect how they're feeling. And then number two, if he says, well, no, I just want to quit. Okay, well, we can use the last 30 days one of two ways. A, you can come and take class. That'd be great. Or B, we can use that time in the future to help you get restarted when the time is right. Which would you prefer? In other words, you're off the hook. You're going to pay the 30 days, or maybe you've probably already paid it. But I don't want you to be resentful like you're wasting the money. So we let you know, hey, A, you can use it now. And if they do come and use it, I can probably turn it around. Or B, we can use that time to get you restarted in the future. And that way they feel like, oh, okay, let's do that, because now I don't have to feel bad about not using the time I've already paid for.
But Kyle, go ahead and reach
But
out to that person.
9 times out of 10, once they quit, and you will never see them again.
Yeah, but if you feel as though it's been unresolved, or as the owner operator, you're uncertain how this thing is ending, Reach out to them and express your concern. Listen, nobody cares how much you know until you demonstrate how much you care. And if that was the upset, this is a surefire way of overcoming that. So reach out to the person. Say, hey, listen, I think our wires were crossed. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to meet with you when you came in earlier, but I just got the word that you've given your 30-day notice and I'm here to help. Is there anything I can do to help out? And just shut up and listen. Most people simply want to be heard, particularly when they have a grievance. And we just got to bite our tongue, let them talk themselves out and wish them the best. So this is an adult student. Is that what you mentioned?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. What was that?
This is an adult student, not for a child.
No, this is an adult.
Yeah, reach out to them. Yeah, as soon as you finish up with this call, just call. And again, we're not being adversarial. We're not trying to upset anyone. We're not trying to harm anybody. Just say, hey, I know we weren't able to speak earlier when you stopped by, and that's unfortunate. However, I did hear that you went ahead and gave your 30-day notice, and I'm curious to know what's happened. And is there anything I can do to help out? Just express your concern. It's hard to argue with somebody when you're playing nice and doing your best to help out. But the truth of the matter is, people quit for a lot of reasons, and most of them have nothing to do with you. So when you have a cancellation, you need to exercise a choice. You can take it personally or you can take it professionally. Guess which one works out the most? Again, just be disconnected to it. The truth is, if somebody gives me the salute and they're heading out, the last thing I want to do is add any injury, particularly in this day and age where everybody's a keyboard warrior. So reach out and say, hey, I understand you've served your 30-day notice, and I'm just here to figure out what happened. Is there anything I can do? And if not, hey, listen, it's been my pleasure to have you as a student, and I'm just going to wish you all the best. Good luck. Just be nice. Be nice. Being nice sometimes hurts while you're doing it, but it doesn't hurt later. Being mean or being aggressive or try to leave some bite marks on somebody, it might feel good for the moment, but the truth is it doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve your business, particularly when we live by these oaths of integrity and all that. So reach out to the person and say, express your concern and hear them out and then let them go. But if you do think that they're going to show up to act out, well, maybe you need to change the terms of your cancellation and just tell them, say, Mr. Lewis, it seems like you're really upset. And I would hate for your upset to spread within the ranks of my academy. So let's do this. I'll reverse the charge during your last payment. And I wish you all the best and move on from it. You know what's interesting is that we get more aggravated when people try to leave than motivated about getting people to show up. Just center your energy on the next guy, not the guy that left. Because Kyle, I've lost track, but you've been in this business for how long?
About 10 years.
Okay, well, okay, you're halfway through your career. If you can learn the lesson now that when people leave, they're leaving for their reasons, not yours. Don't take it personally, but respond on it professionally. You're going to enjoy your career a whole bunch more because it really is. It really is a tremendous distraction if we allow ourselves to be upset because somebody decided to move on for whatever reason. But the truth of the matter is, in most cases, and I think most men and women on this call will support this, people leave because things in their life changed and it had very little to do with you. But if you express your concern about their circumstance and you let them know that you've appreciated what time they've spent in your academy, well, everybody feels better about that. All right, sir, I hope that helped.
Yeah.
Which brings me to another point. If you don't have a cancellation policy, you're missing out on something that can help you enroll more people. I'll give you an example. The number one reason why most people don't commit to a membership is that they think they're locked in and there's still a sense of uncertainty. So what you need to do is let them know that the back door is open just a smidge. Now, I am not inviting you to invite everybody to quit and walk out whenever they want, but I am going to give you something that can help you not only enroll more people, but help people walk into your academy, enroll in a membership, and give it a real try. And that is explain your cancellation policy. Now, the way you get people to ask about your cancellation policy is it's a pretty cool way of doing it. And here it is. You ask that they pay their last month of training at the start of their membership. And that portion of the presentation sounds like this. And the way the tuition works, we just need to take care of our first and last month's tuition. So let's get started. Tonight, we need a debit or credit card for whatever the amount is, $498. May I have it, please? Well, hold on now. Why do I have to pay that last month? Well, in the event that our program is no longer a perfect fit for your family, all you have to do is give us a 30-day notice. No harm, no foul, no strings attached. That's fair enough, isn't it? You will end up enrolling more people. Now, but Fred, am I inviting people to quit? No, you're allowing people to know that you know people quit. And if that is the situation, it's going to be a painless transition to leave. So use that, ladies and gentlemen. Did I see another question pop up, Roman, or is that my imagination?
Believe we still have Mr. Hackelman's from the start of the call, which was just what are things you do to bring more people into your gym? Which I guess we go back to the four.
Well, you can do something really clever, like you're creating an ambassador board. And for the entire month of July in through August, just in time for the Labor Day weekend, for all of our Academy members, all of our students who bring a friend in who enroll, you will be placed on our ambassador board. And in September, we're going to have a big celebration, a private workout with everyone who recommended a student to the Academy who did that enrolled. You can do something that basic. And all you have to do, it doesn't have to be anything elaborate, but a big poster and just write Academy Ambassadors and just write someone's name down, first name, last name, in big bold letters. And let people ask about it. Hey, what's that board all about? Well, Jimmy Smith referred one of his friends from work who came in and became one of our students. That makes him an ambassador. As a matter of fact, have you heard about it? We're having an ambassador event in September. Every student who referred someone to the Academy that enrolled, we're going to have a private workout. We're going to have a celebrity come in and do some kind of training. And we're going to break out the grill and serve up some hot dogs and hamburgers on a Saturday afternoon. So let me ask you, who would you like to recommend to the Academy? All I need is their information. I'll reach out to them and give them all the details about the program. Listen, if you go that grassroots, it puts you in charge of the effort. Because sometimes the way we market and the way we advertise, the way we get the news out, we're spending all kinds of money hoping it works. Well, if you do something as easy as what I just explained, it puts you in charge and you can monitor the results day in, day out. You know, everyone talks about how easy it is for a academy to enroll a referral, but we make such a big deal about getting referrals. Start an ambassador board, or ambassador club, or get online and buy some goofy patches that read ambassador and let them sew it on the shoulder of the uniform and let people know that you need their help to spread the good news about your program. You need their help to help more people. So give that a shot. Listen, if your students knew that the shortcut to pleasing you, to become more connected to you and your academy, was to refer somebody to enroll, they'd do it. Oh, Fred, isn't it obvious? No, it's not obvious. If it was obvious, more people would do it. So, but here's the way it breaks down. 20 to 25% of your membership should be referrals. If it's not, you're not asking for referrals. Let me give you an example. If you enrolled 20 new students last month, 5 of them had to have come from referrals. If not, you could have gotten another 5 if you leveraged referrals. You know, I think back my earlier training as a color belt student with Master Clark, I referred a lot of people, and it wasn't my idea. It was the program director at the time. His name was Jim Beatty. Jim Beatty would always ask me, hey, you going to bring some of your buddies in? Who are you bringing to class? Hey, have you thought about bringing someone to the seminar? I mean, Jim Beatty was like the Pied Piper, and he went through the membership by asking you who you were going to bring to X, whether it was a class, an event, a guest at testing. If we just decided starting today that we're going to ask our students to ask their family members, their friends, their coworkers, their neighbors, and their kids' classmates to come in and find out what we're all about, most of your enrollment challenges would be over. So here's the question you got to ask. By the end of today, will you have taken action on some type of referral effort? Just speak to one person. Mrs. Lewis, your kid's doing great. Matter of fact, it's kids like your youngster that make my job so much fun. And it's parents like you that provides the support that makes our academy such a wonderful community. I'm going to ask a favor of you. Are you open to that? Sure. I want more families like yours. Now, we do our best to market our program, but hey, who knows who shows up? So I want to invite you to invite a family member or a friend or a coworker or one of your neighbors to come and try our class. Who comes to mind? All I need is their information. I'll call them out. I'll call them and give them all the information about the guest membership I'm going to give them on your behalf. Guys, if you just had that conversation with one person every day, every work day, your life would improve. Oh, but Fred, I don't want to do that. Well, why not? Because what I'm doing, I'm congratulating the child's performance. I'm commending and thanking the parent for their support. Come on. I'm asking them to bring more people like them. It's a win across the board, but you just have to do it. And the truth of the matter is, you got to do it more than once to the same person. You know, we never know when the dynamic of a person's life will take a shift or take a change. You know, people's circumstances change all the time, financially, work wise, schedule wise, and also connection wise in terms of having people in their world, their life that they can invite as a member. We never know when those shifts are going to happen. So you just have to become like the Pied Piper and ask your students, ask the parents in your academy who they would like to refer to the studio and tell them what you're going to do. I'm going to extend them the gift of whatever it is I'm going to give them. 30 days free. I'm even going to include a uniform because you've referred them. If we just do that, everything changes. Some of the most successful schools in Master Clark's organization, without exception, 25 to 35, maybe 40% of the new enrollments are referrals. One of our academies on Monument Road, it's right down the street. I'm participating in that studio. So far, 9 new basic enrollments for the month. Guys, what's today's date? 9 already. And guess where they came from? They came from referrals. Referrals are the way to go. And if your students knew how to refer people, they would. So tell them how. And don't put the burden on them. Give me their contact information. I'll reach out and I'll explain the gift that we're going to give them. No strings attached. And they'll be more eager to connect you with somebody who they believe would benefit from your membership. You want to add to that, anyone?
Well,
So,
I think the low hanging fruit, if we're not already doing it, would be to make sure you get the online marketing going. Because I will say, without a doubt, we get a 4-to-1 return on every dollar spent. And I know, Master Robinson's been a private client for many years now. Master Robinson, would you? I think his return is bigger than that. We figured it out one time. Master Robinson, do you remember what your ROI was on ad spend off the top of your head? Oh,
you're
you
muted.
got to unmute it. Sorry.
I don't remember off the top of my head. No.
Okay. Would you say it was at least 4-to-1?
Yeah.
Because I remember we were talking about it, and once we did the math, I was like, people say, well, why don't you just spend more money? It's because I actually just met with 2 of our people yesterday, and I asked them, can you handle more leads? And the answer was, no, sir. And sometimes I feel like I'm drowning in leads. We don't need to spend more money. I just need to get more proficient in handling the leads because they're coming in sometimes more than I can get to immediately. And so that's when you know that you don't want to spend more money. Now, if they would have said, oh, yeah, bring them on, I would have quickly and without hesitation increased our ad spend even more. Because again, every dollar we spend brings back at least 4 friends. So it is the shortcut. Now, if you're not going to call your leads, don't waste your money. But a lot of people have such an apprehension to going out and doing all the things Master Merton's just talked about because they're afraid to put themselves out there, or maybe just don't want to, right? If you're utilizing we do all that stuff with our Facebook ads because more legs under the table is simply better. But I will say that we've gone through phases where all we did was run ads. That's all we did. And it worked beautifully also. So I'm not sure how many of the folks on this call are running ads, or I should say running ads correctly. But I mean, we do give you that as part of your membership with us. It's free. And to not utilize it is crazy because it just works.
I think the misunderstanding about running running ads on Facebook is that the results are instantaneous. No, you generate a lead, then the work begins. The pay part isn't that difficult. It's the follow up. And here's the regimen. When a lead comes in from your online marketing, you got to release the hounds. My strong recommendation is you got to call them 9 times inside of 72 hours. mean, you got to get aggressive. Oh, but I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to disturb anybody. No, they waved the green flag for you to go. So give them your best. This idea that I can reach out once or twice and get a great result is a wonderful idea. However, it doesn't work. You got to go for it, guys, because you got to keep in mind what that online marketing in these platforms actually is. It's interruption. It's an interruption. They're scrolling through looking for cat videos or girls in bikinis, and the next thing you know, boom, an ad pops up. They go, well, I bet my kid would love karate. And all they have to do is hit submit. I mean, heck, most people they don't even have to type out their name and number. They just upload their information ASA automatically. And 2 minutes later, they've forgotten about you. And this is why you got to hammer the phones and leave a message that's inspiring, that's upbeat, that doesn't sound salesy. It sounds like, hey, this is the person I need to call to find out if you can help. And you guys probably know the script, right? If you don't, you got to memorize it. Hey, allow me to demonstrate. Hi, Terry Lewis. Hey, hi, Terry. This is Fred Mertens. I'm one of the instructors up here at Karate America. And I see minutes ago you opted in to find out about our kids' program. Fantastic. Anyway, I'm the instructor. It's going to give you all the information you need to know about our program to see if it's going to be a perfect fit for your family. And I got to tell you, Carrie, your timing is perfect. We're enrolling new students all this week. But Carrie, I got to warn you, this is a very popular offer, and our classes are filling up fast. So, not to miss out, I need to hear from you as soon as possible. Hey, call me directly on this line or shoot me a text with a time for me to reach out, and I will. Here's my number 916-612-2420. See, the magic of that message isn't that I'm trying to get them to buy something. The magic of that message is I'm encouraging them to call me back so I can help them. And I think if you have that tonality, that enthusiasm, provide that level of direction, you'll get more oomph from your leads. Because the purpose of calling a lead is calling a lead that came in isn't to sell them before they call you back. Is simply to promote the idea that the timing is perfect, that they can't miss out. You're going to be helpful. You have a friendly tonality. You're going to give them all the information to figure out this is the right academy. They'll be more inclined to call you back or shoot a text with the time for you to reach out. And this is the key. And of all the parts and all the pieces and all the levers you got to pull in your academy to be highly successful, ladies and gentlemen, this is the most difficult, having that phone discipline. And I can't believe it. I see Master Ray on the call. Sir, you got to mute yourself. Are you driving? Can you unmute yourself, sir?
I'm here.
This guy's one of my favorites. He runs the most successful school in Grandmaster Clark's organization down in Florida. I think you came in under 95, or what'd you hit last month?
No, I think you got me confused with a different one.
Different Master Ray.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. Well, heck, well, you sound friendly. Where are you from, Master Ray?
St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, excellent. And hey, how'd July, what is it, June? How'd June go for you?
It's been tough lately, actually. We have focused on our summer camp. Our summer camp does well, but then it
Okay.
kind of brings our martial arts down a little bit when we focus on summer camp.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the martial arts side has been struggling a little bit lately, but usually that happens when we're focused on summer camp.
Yeah, that can be a
It
challenge.
usually comes down to a lack of staffing. You know, I hire several people, several coaches to run summer camp, but then uh, we're struggling on staffing for the martial arts side. It's
Yeah, well,
basically just me teaching with one black belt assistant instructor, second degree black belt.
mhm. Okay. Well, sometimes a summer camp is a do or die type of circumstance where we need the income. But the unfortunate part about summer camps is, as you mentioned, it creates a distraction. And sometimes
Yeah,
you lose your momentum with your primary business, which is enrolling new students for an ongoing program. But
yeah.
the campers, are they your students or are they from the outside?
Only a few of them are. Most of them from the outside. I mean, I do marketing. I'm developing a marketing company. I have a group of VAs that help me, and we usually get like about 1,000 leads for each summer camp, and it's hard to even, get to all of them. So the summer camp usually does well because of that. Um,
When you say get to all of them, you don't have your strategy as far as follow up, or just too many to handle, or
There's
what?
just too many to call to follow up with. I do have our local staff, my evening lady, admin person. She works like 2 hours in the evening, and um, I have one of our camp coaches that runs the office in the day. I train her to do phone calls, and then we have a VA on our team that does calls as well. But it's still very difficult to catch up with all of them.
So you'll agree what I mentioned moments ago. This is the hard work, picking that phone up and calling those leads time and time again. I guess I don't know your circumstance exactly, but it sounds as though we need to put more emphasis on the outbound calls, and perhaps you can find some eager volunteers or some hourly wage folks. Or do you
Yeah,
charge for a trial? What do you in your business for your entry level membership? Do you charge for a trial?
yeah, we do a trial program for 1 month, but it's an auto renew program, so they know that we don't meet with them again, that it goes right into their contract.
Oh, okay. But your trial membership is what exactly?
We give them 1 month, 2 classes a week. Right now, it's 149 bucks, includes their uniform and a t-shirt and access to all of our tutorial videos.
And what's your typical conversion rate if somebody buys that $149 trial?
Um, yeah, that's where I'm bad at keeping track of all my numbers and percentages.
So if 10
But
people pay you $149, how many continue on?
Well, one of the challenges, we do have an exit interview strategy where if somebody quits, they have to come in, fill out a cancellation form and that type of thing to exit. But there's people that quit, block their card, and we never hear from them again. So that messes up our numbers because we have to try to figure out who those people are and track them. It's easy to track them when they come in and fill out a cancellation form because we have checklists that we follow, like this is how many people canceled. So probably out of 10, the people that have an exit interview, maybe one, you know. So out of the 10 would come in and cancel. But there might be a couple more that we just never hear from again.
Well, the reason I'm asking about that, if you're charging a 149 trial and collect that money over the phone, that's what it sounds like you're doing. Is that
No, they come in for a free lesson. We have a little presentation. I show them a promo video, ask them permission on giving them information on our trial program. I think that's important. And they give you permission. Yes, I'd love to hear it. And we first tell them about our regular membership. Our regular membership, we have a 1 time a week and an unlimited program. And this is what it costs to continue in that program. And the unlimited is basically 2 times a week program, but we just changed it to unlimited because nobody really comes more than 2 times a week anyway. So just
Can I
is
give
an
you some
extra
advice
perk.
about that? Let me give you some quick advice. Okay. This
Yeah.
is worth the phone call. Don't use the word unlimited. Using the word unlimited is like shouting out, hey, we got a buffet bar over here. Hey, the only time you
Yeah.
go to a buffet bar is when you're really hungry or liquored up in Vegas. So change the word from unlimited to unrestricted. And what that means,
Mm.
Mrs. Lewis, you pick your 2 days a week, but if you have to modify your schedule, no harm, no foul. Just come to a different class. It has the same impact, but doesn't imply that if you're not coming almost unlimited, you're not getting your full value. So
Yeah, we do have a 2 class a week program that we're introducing. We have like a couple people on it to try out. That's what we used to do. Years ago, we only did 2 classes a week, for the convenience, what most schools do, right? But I followed Brandon Beliso's method of changing to a 1 class a week program, which increases our per tape value um, per class, and so then I took a
So would you explain that to me? I'm not sure if I understood what you just said. By
yeah.
coming
So if
one
they
time a week, what does it do?
1 time a week, we charge more per class, right? So the more classes they have, the less per class. So if we filled up our tape, if we maximized and we sold out, we filled up every one of our tapes in class with a 1 time a week person, we would have a lot more revenue from that than if we charge less per class by being on a multiple class a week program. So that was kind of his philosophy a long time ago. And it made sense to me, like, oh yeah, let's just fill up with a bunch of 1 time a week program people, and then they pay more per class. But then we found that that didn't work, that we couldn't fill up the mat with 1 time a week people. So that was the problem. And so, but I thought, you know what, we charge, let's just say $100 a month for a 1 time a week program. Well, if we double the classes 2 times a week, then that would be $200 a month. But let's not limit them to the 2 class. Let's let them come unlimited. That's what we did. So it was a motivator to get them to sign up for the more expensive program, and then we also included testing in the unlimited program as a motivator to sign up for that one.
Okay. Are you, if I may ask, I know they're kind of stretching this a little bit, but are you highly profitable? You make a lot of money?
You can never say that you're making a lot of money, because as soon as you do, you feel like I'm still not making a lot of money. But no, I'm actually been struggling a lot lately because I mean, I used to run multiple schools and we're down to one, and I had a lot of staff, a lot of black belts. We lost a lot of the instructors, and
Sure.
like I said, it's back down to me. I'm 53. That's not my goal, is to be back down to me teaching all the classes. My goal was to have my business all operating without me and be able to scale. And I found it's been very difficult for me to scale in the
Well,
martial arts.
hold on. Let me help you out here. What if teaching all the classes paid you 300 grand a year? Would you be interested in doing that?
I would prefer to do real estate and make more.
So you dodged my question.
If I had a choice of doing it or not doing it, then yes, I would do it.
Because
But if
we got some guys on the call here that teach 2, 3 classes a night and make over 300,000 a year personal income.
yeah,
And this idea, I don't want to teach all the classes. What that just told me was you're kind of going about it as an activity as opposed to an outcome-based program. See, the more
no,
class, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, my goals have changed over the years. So
Yes,
when I was younger, I was gung ho. I seen every person as my student. I'm going to sign everybody up, and I'm going to
yeah.
scale, and I'm going to change the world with martial arts. And just as I got older, my goals have changed. And I suppose I have a little bit less passion of teaching that many classes a week. I used to teach 30 classes a week, and I loved it. I had no problem doing it. And then as you get older, it's like, I don't want to teach that much anymore.
Hold on now. Yeah, I see that Master Robinson just unmuted himself. And check this out. Master Robinson, we first met. You were teaching all the classes. How many classes was that?
36 classes,
And now what are you teaching?
16.
And how has your income improved percentage wise?
I
Can you do the math?
I told you I've made more money in the last 3 years than I have in the last 20 before that.
And his secret, I'm going to speak for you. May I do so, sir?
Yes, sir.
The secret is he's not signing people up solely based on the number of times they come to class. He's signing people up based on the understanding of what that student will become. And perhaps this is what you need to add, Master A. Again, we don't know each other, and I certainly hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but when the student knows what they're attempting to accomplish, when they know what the outcome is, when they're pursuing a goal, it's just so much easier, not just to teach them, but to keep them. And when you have more like minded people in your academy, like minded in terms of everyone's there for the same reason to earn a black belt and beyond, you can reduce your schedule significantly, increase your class attendance, and everybody has a blast. And that's perhaps something that maybe we could help you with. If you're open to it, maybe we can schedule a call. That outcome-based membership implies this: a student has enrolled in a program, a membership that's going to take them somewhere. And not
Yeah,
just the first degree black belt. Think bigger than that, guys. The problem
yeah.
with allowing people to simply set a goal first degree black belt, the closer they get to it, the less likely they'll continue. So big, bold, ambitious goals. But it sounds like you're doing a lot of things right, Master Ray, and I appreciate you
Well,
all of me.
yeah, I appreciate you. And I used to do it that way with that focus. Like I said, things just have changed over time.
Yeah, yeah. What part of country you in, sir? You said Missouri,
Yeah,
St. Louis, East Side,
yeah.
West
St. Louis, North St. Louis.
Excellent. Well, very good. Well, I'm glad you're on the call, sir, and hopefully that helped out. All right, I see another call just popped in. What was it? Could you read it out loud for me, sir?
Yeah, we have from Kyle. How do you keep track of attendance? Any software you're using that helps?
I think the best software out there currently is Spark. Now, I do not get paid by them. I certainly wish I would, but they're the best out there. However, Spark and the whole digital online stuff, keeping track of attendance is for you. For the student, my strong recommendation is to go old school, a physical card they keep track of their attendance and their progress on. They got to pull their card, they hand it in, you stamp it, you scan it. The card becomes the conduit between you and the family in terms of where this student is headed. Set up those card racks. It also becomes a tremendous feature when you're taking someone on a tour. One of the most important parts of our program is that we keep an accurate accounting of our students' attendance and progress on the way to black belt. Then pull a card off the rack and hand it to them. This is Timmy Smith. Let me tell you about Timmy. When he first enrolled, he was a C student at school. Now he's on the honor roll. Now I'm not taking all the credit, but I'll take most of it. Mrs. Lewis, helping students stay accountable for the goals they set is the key to success in life. And this is how we monitor a child's progress in our program. Pretty good idea, isn't it? Put it back in. Guys, you got to sell it. So we can turn our attendance mechanism, our system, into a feature that provides tremendous benefit, but only if the parent understands the purpose of it and how it actually works. So keep your digital accounting so you know when to call people and when to shake them up and when to provide whatever encouragement they need. But that tangible card, it changes the student experience entirely. Those of you that have gotten away from it, I would encourage you to get back to it. So with that being said, go ahead, Master Pesky, add to it.
Yeah, and it's not so many times everyone in our industry, and in the past, myself included, is we try to do something where we can just set it, forget it. Well, as soon as you stop paying attention to something, it can stops having value. So even our attendance cards, I've seen a lot of, like the old ATA attendance cards. That thing must have lasted 5 years, and it got nasty and ratty and gross and disgusting and torn and sucked on and ugh. Our attendance cards that Master Mertens is referring to is to complete that belt. So the idea is to finish this card to get the next one, which shows the next step in your level of progress. For you guys that are using them, you see them, every so many classes, a stripe, a new rank. There's a goal of earning the new rank written on the card. There's how you're taking care of your rank certification on the card. Your belt size and current rank is on the card. And the goal is to get that card filled up fast.
The card also informs you and your staff what membership they're on and what they need to be encouraged to do next.
Yes.
Those physical cards are extremely important, guys. If you're not using them, I would recommend you maybe reach out to us and we can help you put it back in play, because it's a tremendous feature of your academy that once it's explained to a parent or adult student, it adds value. It becomes a visual cue for you to pay attention to when you have to call your students. Matter of fact, you've heard this, guys, 1,000 times, and here's 1,001. We know that if a student doesn't show up for class Monday and or Tuesday, statistically, they'll miss a week. And here's how it works. They miss a week, they miss a month, they miss a payment, then they miss you forever. So being able to use these tangible cards as a resource for holding students accountable, keeping track of their progress, and being a visual cue for you and your staff to stay on top of things are tremendous. It's a tremendous value.
Yep.
Now, most of the studios that have re-engineered their card system would never leave home without it. I mean, they'll stay with it.
If you have less than 100 students, you don't need to pay for software. Lead Connector will allow you to do everything. It's free, and you need your attendance cards. We use Spark because it allows us to manage hundreds of students with a couple clicks. But don't feel like, oh, well, I've got to go out and sign up for some software and spend another couple $100 a month. If you have less than 100 students, you don't. Okay. But you do need to use a card. My recommendation is you get the cards printed for practically free. You teach students how to use them, which also helps boost your attendance, because I can manage my attendance through the card rack. I can motivate my students through the card rack. Hey, 2 more classes, you get your next stripe. When do we see you next? I mean, the attendance card puts a real tangible item in their hand every single time they come to class, and it gives them a visual cue. And like Master Merton said, it's a feature and a benefit that we go through on our tour to help parents understand how we help every member set and achieve goals through accountability, and that they have a visual roadmap on how they're going to get there. And I got to tell you, for you guys that are using it, you can back me up on this. Parents love it. Now, 10, 12 years ago, when we first started doing, strictly attendance based, I was a little bit at a twinge of concern for what about people that maybe did martial arts in the past, like an adult now bringing in their child. And I can tell you in the last decade, I've had one parent that didn't absolutely love this method. One in the last 10 years of doing this across what, 5 locations. You know what I do here all the time? Oh, man, I wish it was like that when I was a kid. I probably wouldn't have quit.
Yeah.
So help make it easier for your students and their families to have a clear roadmap of how to get where they want to go. I mean, if you think about it in the corporate world, there is a clear map of how you get promoted and how you move up through the ranks in the corporate system in the company. And yet in the martial arts community, we tend to keep all that secret. And then we wonder why they quit because they don't even know, they can't see where they're going. Give them a destination and a clear roadmap on how you will help them achieve that goal, and people will stay longer and they'll pay more because they see more value.
Roman, I see a question came in. Would you read it, please?
Yes, from Eric Siley.
Hi, Mr.
What is
Side.
the biggest change you have seen in the past 12 to 18 months in communicating with students and prospects online? People do not tend to pick up the phone as much. We get a lot done with SMS messaging through Spark with leads, but what do you see?
I tell you, equal to texting, messenger. And this is one of the reasons why you got to start out right. If you look at the phone dialogue, once we've established the appointment and we scheduled the lesson and we've done the add-on and we collected the payment, our next step is to get them onto our private VIP Facebook page. This allows them to get a sneak peek of what they have to look forward to before they get in there, which increases show rate. But most importantly, now we have a direct line of communication that a lot of people use. Of all the clients that we currently help out, more than half use Messenger to stay connected with me. So Messenger is right up there with texting. And the cool thing about using Messenger is in concert with sending a message, you can also do what? You can provide additional information on that page to inspire the students or to inform them. So Messenger is where to go. Now, another idea I have for you is that you got to leverage the trifecta. If you want more people to hear what you have to say, you got to text them, you got to use Messenger, and you have to email them. Do the trifecta. As a matter of fact, decide right now that every time you have a reason to communicate with a student or your students, we're going to release the hounds and do the trifecta. It's a surefire way of more people hearing from you. And there is a ratio between the number of times you stay connected with someone and the longevity of that membership. Out of sight, out of mind, it really means out of sight, they're gone for now. So that being said, you leverage all three modes of communication. And one more time, texting, email, and use Messenger. And also, you got to be redundant. This idea, oh, I text them, they didn't text me back. Well, damn it, text them again. I heard this. I wish I could give credit where credit is due, but somebody said this once. I thought, I can't claim it, but I'll use it. Your persistence will erode the resistance of all your future, present, and past clients. You got to be persistent, guys. Isn't that one of the themes of martial arts? Maintaining persistence. So I hope that helped. Ms. Siley, you want to add to that, or you want to ask another question about it?
No, I think I'm taking a note here. I don't use Facebook Messenger a lot, and I've missed a few things because I don't pay as close attention to Facebook Messenger, and we need to make sure that we're adding people. I have an adult and a youth private group because we're about 50% kids, 50% adults, and
Nice.
the interests are a little bit different between the groups, and I just need to make sure that we're getting everyone added to the groups once they hit our ads, which isn't happening right now.
Yeah, get them in the groups. I will say that post COVID, people do, at least here in California, people are answering the phone less and less and less. So we do utilize SMS and Messenger a lot. We sell a lot of trials over over text. However, since we are in the relationship business, once the money changes hands, they don't come in unless we talk to them. And we let them know, okay, great, congratulations. Now that you have purchased your trial, we need to schedule a call to go over all the details to make sure you have the best experience for your first lesson. Would you like to talk now or would later this evening be better? You know, but if we can't get them on the phone, the odds of them enrolling, even though they bought that trial, are just they're not big enough. You know, we want an 80% conversion rate and we ask for a lot of money. So we've got to start establishing the rapport before they ever come in the door. And but as a backup, we also send them the link where they can request to join the VIP group. I mean, we make sure nothing slips through the cracks. But again, even when we go to confirm day before day of, if we haven't had a phone call with them, we let them know, hey, in order to keep your appointment for Tuesday at 6, we do need to go over a few things on the phone before you come in. So, let's connect. And if they don't, then our final thing is day of. It looks like we haven't had a chance to connect yet, so let's go ahead and reschedule your lesson. At which point they usually call us. But we've got to have that personal connection because if I can't do a deep dive into their skull about what it is they really want, it remains a surface level activity. And a surface level activity is not worth $500 a month. So we've got to get them to pick up that phone and we just don't relent. I'd rather give you your $20 back than waste my time taking you on a tour and orientation for someone I haven't been able to connect with. Forget it.
If you look at your history, virtually everyone you enrolled, you had a conversation with them over the phone.
Yes.
This idea that, well, people don't like talking on the phone. Well, if it's important, they will. All right, so we're a little over the hour. Why don't we do maybe a half dozen takeaways real quick before we tap out? So what are some of the ideas we've shared with this audience that you're going to embrace and put into practice? Master Siley, we'll start with you.
It's present in mind because I just covered it. I need to make sure that we're getting everyone that we're getting everyone added to our Facebook groups, and I'm staying logged in, and my program manager is staying logged into Messenger to be able to communicate with people. If we don't talk to someone on the phone when they can schedule directly an appointment from the ad. And if we try to contact them, we can't make contact. The show rate is really, really low.
We're in agreement with that.
So
Yeah.
so that's one lead, and then I'm still working through training my program manager since I joined the group. So
All right, excellent. All right, well, thank you for that. All right, one more, then we'll tap out. What about Mr. Brown?
Hey guys,
Good to
sorry I
see
was
you.
a little bit late coming in. So I absolutely can agree, and I do know that especially with your idea with the cards, with the card rack and stuff,
Yes, sir.
we use that electronically, and we have an electronic card rack that has their belt where they're at, and that one, and then there's also in our lesson plans, they can follow along with that, and they can check off. Okay, I did my palm strikes today. I did chokes from the front today with a push. I did this today, this today, this today, and it logs it on there, and then so many of those, then they can go to the next level, depending on how many hours. So it's very transparent. I really like it because I don't have the staff to be able to work with the cards, but they can actually do it real time on the app, unless they have trouble with it, and then we can walk them through it. But
Yeah.
so
Well,
I absolutely agree with you that the card system is good. That's the way I was raised when my dad was teaching me and all that. But I just like the electronic version better.
okay, great. Fantastic. We keep in Florida under Master Clark's organization. We use the software to keep track of attendance, yet we still use the cards because we know that the tactile sense that having holding the card really does have tremendous impact. But thank you for that contribution. Master Hackelman, you want to give us some departing wisdom? What are you walking away with, sir?
We don't have any. Our wisdom is pretty low, but no. But what I really took from this one is I like that it's a different trifecta, but I like the getting referrals and then doing the Facebook, but then going door to door like old school. Hey, I'm John. No,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, because a lot of people I like that. Those three ways of getting new students. And I think Heather and I are going to be like, we're going to start going door to door in our town.
Why not? Why not? Make yourself famous. Congratulations.
I have to say a little, we had a really good month last month, and it was a lot to do with calling everyone back in a timely manner. And so for you guys bring that up all the time. I've really been working on that. And usually July is usually our very worst month. So we'll see how this month goes. But June, it starts, people go on hold. But we had 21 signups last month, which was
Fantastic.
where June is pretty good for us. So
Okay.
the calls, I definitely say call people back.
Even if you're clumsy at enrolling most, 20 new basic, upgrading most, 20 new basic memberships will generate a $500,000 plus.
Yeah.
If you upgrade them within 4 to 6 weeks after they enroll. But congratulations. You know, the truth is, the way we encourage people to operate, it may seem like a lot of work, but I'd say what work is. Work is when no one shows up. Work is when you're fretting about your account balances. So let's leverage all these outreach programs. Let's work through your students and hey, let's make it fun. Because the truth is, what really makes this fun is when you have a lot of people, 20 plus enrolling each and every month, so you can really make an impact in your community. So thank you so much for listening to us and doing the hard work, putting it to work. So thank you.
All right, so welcome to Monday. So there's a couple questions in there, one of which was from Sunny asking about upgrade tuition payments. And, you know, as you know, for you guys that are following the Warrior system, our goal is to have a person upgraded into a higher tier membership before their first installment is due. And because of that, we give them a $500 gift voucher to offset anything they might have already paid us. Well, his question was, what if I've got a straggler that's maybe been here for several months? How do I handle that? Well, the truth is you have two choices. I have, you know, for us, our black belt training membership is 36 months. And the easiest way to handle it is to simply offset the number of installments by the number of payments they've been there. If you want to get this person on the right program and for whatever reason you've allowed them to slip through the cracks, or maybe you just started and you've got some people that maybe started 6 months ago. If your black belt membership, for example, is 36 months, well, by taking care of this initial investment and enrolling now instead of waiting till later, we're going to save you XYZ. We might even include ABC, right? I need to give always to help sales flow easily. We want to do two things. You want to have you want to have a sense of urgency and a restrictor, right? So I need to have two things to get them to take action now, where I'm not forcing them to do it, but I'm incentivizing them to do it. So another benefit, if someone's been there, let's say 6 months, and the membership, the new membership you want them on is 36 months long, it's very easy to say, and since you've already made 6 installments on your basic, well, we're going to apply that towards this black belt membership at the full freight, which means instead of 36 more installments remaining, heck, there's only 30. And that's an added benefit of doing this now instead of waiting till later. Now, full transparency, I have had once or twice in my career where a person goes, well, no, we're going to wait. Okay. Now here we are another 6 months. They're wrapping up their first basic 12 months of membership. Now, keep in mind that rarely happens at this point, but sometimes you do have a unicorn where they finish up and now there is no discount. You know, we're going to show the integrity that we teach. You know, do I still get that savings? Well, no, you didn't do it when I asked you to do it. So now here's what it is, and let's get started. Now, we might try to help them save a little bit, but it will not be the same. If you extend the same offer that you told them they had to take advantage of now, you ruin 100% of your credibility. Now, the same thing goes with a basic training membership. As most of you know by now, you know, they come in on a $20 trial and we let them know that we're going to save them. Well, for a family, it saves them $250 because that's what it's worth for a family. And to show our vote of confidence and encouragement, we're going to match that savings. So we'll save you $500 by enrolling today. And if they choose not to, which again rarely happens, but if they say, oh, no, 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 we're going to wait. Okay, well, just to be clear, I will not be able to extend this level of savings. Now, if they come back in on day 2 and say, yeah, we thought about it, we want to do it after all, then, well, okay, then great. We can still save you. Or even let's say they don't come to me. They come in, we do their second lesson. I'm going to pitch them again. Okay. And I'm going to tell them beforehand, but at the end of day 1, I'll let them know, okay, well, let's schedule your next lesson. You don't have free reign of the schedule because you're not on a real membership. But let's go ahead and schedule your second lesson. After the second lesson, we'll sit down, review the membership, see if we can't help you save some money still. Now, that doesn't mean we're still going to save them $500. It means we might save them half. I do want to help them win, but I have to preserve the integrity of what I told them because this is the first membership, not the final destination. I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot. Now, I want them to feel like they won. So it's like, okay, well, I'll tell you what, today he did a second lesson. I'm even more convinced. I'm sure you can see it now. Let's go ahead and get him started. Here, let's review the membership, see if we can't help you out. All right, now we can't give you the initial visit incentive, but I can still apply the other half of that. I can still save you $250. Let's go ahead and get started. Well, I don't get the $500 savings? Well, no. Now, the good news is if you set it up properly, they won't even ask you that because you've made it abundantly clear at the end of day 1. And the fact that you can save them anything tends to be more of a surprise than an expectation. And again, that's by design because I want them to feel like they've won. I want, ooh, okay, well, that's a good deal, right? I always want them to leave with a smile, and I always want them to leave feeling good about what happened, whether they did what I asked them to or not. In other words, I always want to help them land softly. If they did what I asked, fantastic. Everybody's happy, do a little dance. If they don't do what I just asked, well, I would at least want them to leave feeling good about the experience they had, even though we didn't get the result we wanted. And that's really important for a couple of reasons. Number 1, I expect referrals. Number 2, I'm going to ask again. And number 3, even if they quit never to be seen again, I don't want them going online and putting me on blast about, oh, this was some high pressure thing. It should never feel like a high pressure thing. I will give you options of how you can participate. I'll even incentivize them pretty heavily, but ultimately it's up to them. My job is to get so good at presenting that they cannot say no. Not to force them. I'm not going to wrestle them down. I want them to not miss out. I want them to feel as if they would miss out by not taking advantage. So to answer Sonny's question, even if we're 6, 8, 10, 12 months down the road, you could certainly charge them the full 36 months to move forward. Or if it's you going to them trying to get them on the right membership, heck, apply however many months they've been there against the months that you'd like them to be there and help them save money by go ahead and following your direction. All right, so next question we had in here was from Niles, and he says, does anyone use call forwarding with their CRM? I'm wondering if I can get texts and calls forwarded to my cell phone from my CRM. He's currently using Spark, and he's using our Enrollment Max. He's a client. And so I tagged Roman in the comment there, and he's going to shoot a Loom video to walk him through on how to set that up because it does work magnificently. All right, for any of you guys that are coaching clients, we'll go through how to, you can download the app and everything. Like, for example, I get lead notifications to my phone, as does our team. Whoever's assigned to reaching out to them will reach out through the app. You can call people from your phone through the app where your school's phone number will show up on their end, not your cell phone number. And it's fantastic because it maintains your anonymity in terms of handing out your personal phone number to everybody. And every single call gets recorded. Call in, call out, the text messages, everything is there. Your automations are there. It is fantastic. And if there's anyone on this call that's not utilizing that, please reach out to Roman or myself and we'll help you get that squared away. You'll see a Loom video in the Black Belt group in the next, 24 hours or so, and how to set it up if you don't already have it set up. But yeah, from your cell phone is the way to go. In fact, we have a lot of school owners that don't even have a school phone anymore because they're using that and just forwarding it to and from their cell phone. But again, it does not use or show or share your cell phone number. So when a call comes in, you know how to answer it appropriately based on the screen. All right. Let's see. Kevin Koo, my first upgrade paid in full. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. Now, here's the other part I want to share about that. I don't know if you guys all saw this already or not, but we talk about pitching your memberships as 1 to 2 days a week. And as you get into attendance based, you relieve the pressure from the parents of having to use it or lose it, right? We have 2 families at our new location in Elk Grove that enrolled and were very concerned pre-enrollment that they were going to be traveling to India to visit family for the next 8 weeks. They're on a family membership. It's on a compressed payment system, which means for their 3 kids, they're making payments of $996 a month. And she's going to be gone 1 month in for 2 months. That's $2,000 she's going to pay and not be able to use it on a traditional enrollment system, I guess you could call it, right? But once she understood that, okay, you're not paying for time, you're paying for outcome. This membership is going to take your kids to Greenbelt. It doesn't matter if it takes 10 months, 12 months, 16 months. I do not care because they progress based on attendance. It relieved all pressure. And she's like, oh, okay. So I make the payments and then we have it to use, however, we can use it whenever. Yes, absolutely. Okay, sign me up. Sign me up. Now, I'm sure all right, the worst way to handle that is put the payments on hold. Hopefully nobody does that ever again, if they ever did. What we used to do years ago was we let them know, oh, don't worry, any time that is missed, we simply extend your expiration date to match so nothing is lost. And for the most part, that works. However, it's even easier to get people enrolled by letting them know there's no expiration date. You get to train until the belt goal is reached. However long it takes. You're paying. It also eliminates the idea that they are trading time for money. So when you say, I'm going to put you on a 6, 8, 12-month membership, and you're going to pay $200 a month, they're in their mind, they immediately correlate it with every other type of membership where here, I'm going to give you $200 and you're going to jump through some fiery hoops and entertain me. And I know we all like to think, well, not me, but that's pretty much what it is. I'm going to pay you $200 for the next 30 days of service. Serve me. You can flip that switch real easy by just switching it to you're purchasing a program to go to XYZ belt and you progress based on attendance. Now, to get there is going to take about X number of classes, and you progress at your own pace depending on how often you train. So now they have ownership of it. It's theirs to use at their discretion. Now, we do have limitations on it. Like for basic, they can come to class 1 to 2 times a week. And stating 1 to 2 times a week is powerful because in your upgrade, you let them know they can come up to 3 times a week and reach those goals faster. Leadership, maybe they can come up to class 4 days a week and reach those goals even faster. But the flip side of it is also fantastic. And this is coming back to our comment from Kevin Koo. Our school's developing their equivalency to a 3-year black belt program. He teaches our niece. I have a new student who initially said they can only make class once a week. Crazy. Great. Now, I would prefer everyone to be there at least twice. Don't get me wrong. But I don't want to lose an enrollment because they can't. I don't want to put a restrictor on somebody enrolling. I will encourage them to come more. Same thing when we upgrade. I had families one time. What really helped cement this for me is we had a family I was presenting on black belt training, and now they can come 3 days a week. She almost didn't enroll because she thought now she had to come 3 days a week, and they couldn't. Think about that. So it's like, okay, do I want to lose a 36-month membership worth $10,000 because they can only come twice a week? Heck no. So we realized, okay, we have to be abundantly clear that on this membership, most families still keep their regular schedule of 1 to 2 days per week done. However, it gives you an option of adding a third day whenever you'd like. And then like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of nice to have. People love options and people will pay for options. Some people use it, some people don't. And either way, it's okay. Because the truth is, the memberships that we've had that last the absolute longest on average are the people that come 2 days a week forever. And we even tell families our goal is for our program not to commandeer their life. Our goal is to have our program augment everything in their life. They'll do better at school, better at home, better at soccer. Better. I had this one mom not too long ago. She goes, well, I think we're not going to continue. I said, what are you talking about? She goes, well, Carlos wants to play soccer. I said, great. I'm a fan. Have him play soccer. His martial arts will help him be a better soccer player. That's fantastic. Do it. She's like, oh, I didn't think we could do both. Why on earth would you think that's a failing on our part? Right? That's a failure on our part. I don't, now I will admit when I was in my 20s, I wanted Taekwondo to be their entire life, right? Because I was competing, I was training every day for hours on end. I mean, it was everything. And I thought everyone should do what I want, right? And fortunately, I've gotten a little bit older and realized that's ridiculous. And you certainly cannot build an academy based on that. So the truth is, everybody, I firmly believe everybody in our city would be better off if they came to class with us once or twice a week. Every person, every person. And if you share that belief, well, then help them understand that too. So after his first week, he was having so much fun. He asked me if he could train more. I didn't want to miss out on this hot upgrade. So I put something together for an 18-month program. Did an upgrade conference with him, let him know that our next level of training will allow him to train 2 to 3 times a week. Made an offer. He said, okay, put it on sale. And he said yes to that too. My biggest single collection so far, $3,159. Well, congratulations, Kevin. That's fantastic. That's, that's great. I'm excited for him. And that also further spurns his confidence to do more. Because the truth is, everyone on this call could collect a single payment of $12,000. It's just happened over and over and over. Does that mean every single person you talk to is going to do that? Heck no. Does it mean it will happen regularly? Heck yeah. All right. So those are the two burning questions we had on here first. Let me look and see if I see someone else on here. Someone said, I'd love to schedule, be a part of scheduling training call for my staff. Well, yeah, we offer that. Get them on here. That'd be great. Okay. All right. So let me look in here. All right. Todd Carroll, welcome. Good to see you. Do they have a fixed amount of payments for that membership? Yes. In fact, Ms. Nelson, this is what's going to help you there in the great state of New Hampshire too. So for us, to get to a green belt in our system, if a person comes twice a week and never misses a beat, it would take them 10 months. Okay. However, since I know no one's going to have perfect attendance, the odds of that are slim to none because kids get sick, families go on vacation, you have parent teacher conferences, life gets in the way, and that's okay. So since I know that, our green belt would take about 10 months. We have made that as our what used to be our 12-month membership. Now, if we go back 10 years ago, it was 12 months of training, and however far you got, you got. And when we switched over to outcome based, I didn't want to shoot myself in the foot and get stuck with a rank that took 12 months because sometimes people take longer. Sometimes they take less time. Those are the ones that upgrade first. Let's not worry about that. But what about the ones that take longer? Well, I don't want to have any irritation on my end. So let's set it up properly so that it works out in our favor. Okay. So if it takes 10 months to get to green belt, that's our basic program. And we will break that up to as many as 12 installments. So let me pause on that for a quick second. Another huge benefit of doing outcome-based is since you're no longer trading time for money, the number of installments does not have to match any duration. I'm going to say it again. Even if it did take 12 months to reach Greenbelt, which for most people it will, but I don't have to have 12 payments because they're not trading time for money. You're not buying a 12-month membership at $200 or $250 per month. You're buying a program that will take you to Greenbelt, and it costs X. And you don't have to pay it all at once. We'll break that up into 6 installments of $498. Now, if they can't do that, well, let's do the first installment, break the rest in half, and do the first installment of $498, and then 10 additional installments of just $249. We'll do that for you. Oh, you do that for us? Yeah, we'll do that for you. But I don't know if I can afford that. I don't have $500 today or $600 today, whatever it is. Okay. Well, you know what? I do not want to let money get in the way of what matters most. And that's helping families like yours. If you guys aren't using that line, please write it down. It is powerful. You take away 100% of the idea that you're trying to get their money. That's what you all want to avoid at all costs. I am here to help you, mom, have a better child. It's not about the money. We already talked about the program. We talked about what it's going to do for your child. Now we just got to figure out how you're going to pay for it. No big deal. In fact, the money matters least. Either we can make financial arrangements or we can't. All right. So yeah, since I'm not selling them a time-based membership, you don't have to have a time-based payment system. Say we'll do 6 installments of $498. Second half of your membership, there's no tuition due. Now we do say that so they realize, okay, I'm making this hefty payment, but it's not for very long. We tell them typically to go from white belt to green belt, typically it takes on average about 12 months. But here's the good news. If you do a little faster or if it takes you longer, no harm, no foul. I mean, the truth is families go on vacation, get sick, have other events. Maybe they made it to soccer national championships and they're going to miss class for a couple of weeks. You're not losing anything because this membership does not expire. This membership takes you to the rank of green belt, regardless of the timeline. Now, one time I had a guy who goes, yeah, but what if it takes them 18 months? Well, since we're progressing based on classes, attendance, that just means they didn't come to class. Why are we crying about that? If they actually get to green belt and it takes them 18 months, you'll upgrade them because obviously they're into it or they wouldn't have gotten across the finish line. That means they missed the block of time somewhere. And even on a traditional system, you would have extended their expiration date anyway. So let's not bother with, all these crazy scenarios of, well, I'm not going to train them for free. You didn't. They weren't there. Because if they're progressing based on attendance, they're only getting class credit when they show up. And the truth is, it's easy to put another person in class. So get back on track here. We do not need 12 payments. So we start off, we just offer 6. And to get started, it's real easy. We're going to save you all this money for enrolling today. So the balance of the initial investment is only X, since we're saving you all this money. And then for the tuition, well, heck, we break it up into 6 installments of $498. And then for the rest of the membership, there's no tuition due. Let's get started. More than half of our members will say, okay. It changes billing significantly. It's like signing up 2 for 1 all day long. Yeah, but then it's only 6 payments. Okay, first of all, let's get rid of that scarcity mindset. Second of all, let's realize when a person says yes to payments of $500 a month, upgrading just got so easy. So easy. Because now we can upgrade them to black belt training, and for only an extra $100 a month, you get the benefits of XYZ and ABC. And for this membership, heck, we do 18 installments. And then for the rest of the membership, there's no tuition due. We just train till we get to black belt. Now they're making payments of $600, $598 a month. Growing your billing just became a cinch. Now, if you're really doing it right, you don't even have to worry about what happens in a year and a half because you've already upgraded them to leadership and maybe something else too. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Now, what happens if they say, well, I can't afford another $100 a month? Hey, let me help. Let's keep your tuition exactly where it is at $498. Now you have 22 installments. No big deal. See, the money's a big deal when you make it a big deal. Oh boy, I get all, no, it's no big deal. We're just figuring out numbers. And they say, well, yeah, but $500 a month is kind of a lot. I knew I could do 6 payments. I don't know if I can keep that going. Well, since we're here to help, and I don't want to let the money get in the way, let's do this. Let's lower your tuition $100 a month starting right now. Get them on black belt training. That lowers your tuition to just $398 a month. And then we'll have whatever it is, do the math, 32 installments. I don't know what the math is, but it's nice. All right. Here, let's do the math. Let's do the math. If we say, let me get my calculator. If we're going based on $299 a month for black belt times, if we want 36 installments or the equivalent, that's $10,764. And we're going to divide that into $398 a month instead of by lowering it a month thing. That comes out to 27 installments. Show of hands. Would anybody be thrilled to write a membership for 27 installments of $398 for a single member? I would be. We do it all day. It's fun. Heck yeah. Todd Carroll says, sign me up. It's great. But see, now we're having different conversations. See, the first part of the conversation is about getting to know the person. The second part of the conversation is looking for seeking desired result. I'm sorry, investigating the experience. The third part is seeking desired results. So we're forecasting or future casting here to what they want. And what does this do? This gets them into a peak emotional state about what they want for themselves or their child. And now that we're there, we can talk about the membership features and benefits. So now they went from, okay, get into rapport. Here's what we like. Here's what we really want. Here's the membership that will fulfill those wants and needs and desires. And now we just figure out the money. The money's the smallest part. If you do your job right, the money is the smallest part of the equation. We've already established this is what you want, what you need, you got to have it. Now we just figure out some dollars and cents. That's easy. Now, does that mean every person's going to enroll or upgrade? No, don't be delusional. That's insane. I mean, we charge a real premium. However, can we get at least half of the people we talk to pay us the money that you're worth? Absolutely. And they'll say, thank you. Okay. And then when it comes to upgrades, those are even easier because now you've established rapport even more deeply. And by acting more quickly, you get them at a new peak state and they commit to an even bigger outcome, typically within the first 30 days. If a person enrolls, in fact, last month, I know Master Wong, one of our guys that runs Roseville, he's like, it was one of the times where this actually happened. They enrolled on like the 2nd. And on the 26th, they upgraded. So inside of 30 days, they paid almost, I think it was like $2,800 inside of 30 days. But more importantly, they're on a path to one day reaching black belt. Now, is that all the money? No, that was just the initial investment first and last. Twice, basic upgrade. And why would they do that? Because they saw the potential this will have on their child because we're really good at having the right conversations. And then it was reinforced by what they saw on the mat. And then finally, it was incentivized with money. Got to do it all. Some people go, well, I don't charge a down payment. That is a huge mistake. How are you going to incentivize any savings if you're not charging anything? I want to help you say, everybody likes to win. Heck, my wife and I bought a couch a few years ago. And he goes, yeah, now what, these are the throw pillows we recommend for this couch. I was like, oh, those look nice. And he goes, yeah, they're $200 each. They come in a 3-pack, $600. I was like, oh. He goes, but we gift them to you if you'd be willing to share a review on Yelp for us. I kind of laughed. I said, done. Give me the pillows. On our way home, my wife and I were cracking up. I was like, that's a good move. This guy understands some marketing. And you know what? And I still wasn't upset about it. I was happy we got the pillows for free. Even when you know what's going on, everybody wins. So everybody feels good. I hope that makes sense. So the goal is it good for them? Is it good for you? And is it good for the academy? And the answer must be yes, yes, yes. And that way, everybody wins. Your school wins because some of you may or may not have, some of you guys probably have staff. I know some of you definitely have staff. So it's got to be good for your academy because my academy needs to pay to feed more mouths than just mine, right? And even if you're a one-man show right now, you probably either A, want to eat better, or B, feed more mouths eventually. So the academy must win. But then also you need to win. I think it starts there. You got to put you first. I know Ms. Nelson and I were talking about this the other day, where, when you get on the airplane, they do the same rigmarole every single flight. Hey, if the cabin loses pressure, this little yellow plastic mask falls down. And here's what you must do. Put it on you first. If you don't take care of you, you can't help anybody else around you. So yeah, you have children that you love and care for, maybe will give your life for. You put that mask on you first. Otherwise, you can't save them. And I think the same rules apply in business. There's even a book that was real popular quite a few years ago called Profits First. If your business isn't profitable, you're screwed. Personally and professionally, and you'll never be the example anybody wants to follow. So you got to get your money right. Oh, hey, look at that. And we've never even talked about that. That's funny. All right, so here we go. So yes, Mr. Carroll, they do have a fixed number of payments. We typically start with half of the amount of time we think it will take them to reach the goal. 12 months, if it was a membership that would last about 12 months, like Greenbelt for us, well, then we do 6 installments. And then we can fall back from that. We have a whole training series called Cascading Fallbacks. And it just teaches you how to seamlessly, if they can't do it, okay, no big deal. Let's do this. Okay, well, in that case, let's do that. We don't want to ever let the money get in the way of what matters most. So let's do this. And we're just here to help. And even when they don't enroll, because not everybody enrolls, I mean, let's not be delusional. When they don't enroll, they will apologize and say thank you. And that is a fact. They're like, you know what? I really wish I could do this. You've been so helpful. I feel bad now. I said, don't worry. Hey, when things get better, come see us again. We're not going anywhere. We'll be here. All right. That's the way you want to end the conversation, not with, well, we're going to go home and think about it. And then they leave and then they get in the car and they're pissed off because they feel like all you try to do is reach in their wallet. That's a mistake. All right. Kevin says, what is the conversation if during the upgrade conference, the family doesn't want to, either can't afford more or have no desire to progress further? I just continue to train for fun at my current price. I don't need a black belt. Now, I'm not sure if we're talking about a kid or an adult because the conversations will be different. But there, hey, Kevin, good to see you, sir.
Adults primarily, sir, is kind of where that kind of comes in.
Okay, that's what I kind of figured, especially since you guys are doing our niece. So if I sit down, I need a little more context because as a blanket response, it tells me I didn't set it up properly. Okay, that as a blanket response, if they're telling me that I did not set it up correctly, the only reason they wouldn't upgrade is because they have no money, and I can't fix that. Now, I can be more flexible in the terms, but I can't give you money to pay me. You got to make your own money, right? So with this person, number one, was they presented in the opportunity to upgrade in the first 30 days? Oh, we can't hear you, Kevin. You got to unmute.
Oh, sorry. So it hasn't happened. It's a kind of a theoretical, but I have this is coming from, I had a couple of adults who, when I switched from my original pricing to how we're doing it within the Warriors system, said, this is where our tuition is at, blah, blah, blah. And there was just one person like, okay, well, I get that, but this is kind of it. I don't want to pay more than this. and they've kind of said something like, I don't need ranking. I just want to learn this. I just want to train.
Okay.
And at the time it was like, okay, well, we're here, so that's fine. But I'm
Yeah.
kind of like, okay, what happens 12 months from now?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't wait 12 months because
Oh,
if you wait 12 months, chances are even higher they won't even be there at all. Think about it in terms of you have to give them a bigger reason to stay plugged in. Otherwise, it just becomes a workout. And we all know, workouts aren't enough. There needs to be there needs to be a sense of progression, and there needs to be a goal. There needs to be an outcome they're progressing towards. Otherwise, you're just a gym and a health club, and turnover is extremely high. Now, in the beginning, they're highly motivated and enthusiastic. So we all delude ourselves into thinking, well, not them. But the truth is, they won't be there in 12 months unless they get upgraded, 9 times out of 10, at least. So when they say something like that, though, I want you to, instead of listening to what they say, I want you to ask the question, why would they say that? That's a real question, Kevin.
I'm really thinking, sir.
Okay. I didn't want you to think I locked up or something. I thought, well, I better move. He might think I'm frozen.
No. I'm thinking. I mean, in my head, like, kind of would just go back to my, like, I don't want the pressure, the responsibility. Like, I just want to stay here. Don't make me do more stuff than I'm comfortable with.
That's right. Yeah, you're correct. And it could be, so what it really is, why would someone even feel that way? It's a safety mechanism. Okay, I'm enrolled. I realize there might be more, but because I don't know what it is and my self-confidence isn't where it should be, let me put something out there as kind of a buffer so I'm never asked, so I have an out.
That's
Right?
right.
If I say things like that to you, that means I'm a little bit afraid of what I don't understand. So let me put up a little barrier just in case it's something I don't want. I have something to fall back on, say, well, no, remember I told you before, right? The same reason why when you go to enroll somebody, oh, well, mom's not here, just give me the information, I'll take it to her. That's a giant smokescreen, right? And our job is to just move that nonsense out of the way. So if I had a student that go, well, I see some of these guys are upgrading, but just to let you know, I just want to train. I don't care about ranks or stripes or any of that stuff. I just want to train. In my mind, I think, okay, you're a scaredy cat. No big deal. I know how to handle that. No big deal. What's going to happen is I'm going to go double down on building your confidence, pumping you up. I want to say things like, man, you're getting that really well. I see you earning a black belt one day. And they'll say things like, oh, no. Remember, I told you, I just want to, it's okay. I understand. But if you keep showing up and learning, it's inevitable and you're doing great. So good job. High five. When are you going to be in class next? See, I have to have I just have to realize you're scared. Let me help you. And those are the people who need your help the most because they would become your loyal followers because you're the person that helped them gain their confidence, right? But we can't listen to what they say. You just got to do one of those little plug your ears and la 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 la. No, don't listen to what they say. Look at what they need and ask yourself, why would someone say something so ridiculous? Well, it's a safety mechanism. So I'm not sure if you guys are doing stripes on the belt, but that's a biggie. Like when we give someone, it's funny because we have a lot of parents that train with us, a lot of mommies. They're very insecure a lot of times. And like, oh no, I don't care about that. I don't need that. I don't need that. And then you call them up front and put a stripe on their belt. It's hilarious. It's like watching a 8 or 10-year-old little kid just light up like a Christmas tree. I was like, see, I knew you could do it. You're doing great. And man, you're being an amazing parent by being out here with your kids, even, or just by being out here if they don't have a kid out there. It doesn't matter. But I know that I have to double down on this is what's going to get you what you want. And every person, parent or single adult, doesn't matter. Every person wants to be stronger and more confident typically than where they currently are. Even the ones that act really strong, tough, and confident, a lot of times that's just a facade too. So don't listen to it. And this is why it's so important for all of us to have a procedure to follow a system, because otherwise we do it based on thoughts and feelings, and that just doesn't benefit anybody. right? Like you listened to this person say that and thought, well, that might be true. I know it's not. I just know it's a self-protection gimmick so that they will have, it gives them an emergency exit. So if you say, hey, I want to put you on black belt training, here's what it is. They go, oh, I don't know if I can do that. They have something to fall back. Well, no, remember I told you I don't care about that stuff. Baloney. So don't listen to it. Follow a procedure. For our procedure, what we do, as you know, class 1, 2, 3, 4, something special happens. I don't care what you tell me. It's follow the process. I don't care. I'm not going to get my black belt. Actually, you know what? I had a mama just the other day. She has these 2 little kids. There's Hawaiian family. They're here in Sacramento. She has 2 kids. Her and dad are doing it also. She told me how her whole family is like professional brown belts when they enrolled, like her dad, her brother, her uncle, her cousin. They all trained in martial arts over the years. None of them got past brown belt. I said, well, it's time to break the cycle. And so they're white belts still. And I told her last week, Wednesday or Thursday, whatever day it was, I said, ma'am, you guys are doing great. And now that you got your first stripe, we need to have our review conference because I think you might be your family's going to be a good candidate to set their goal for black belt. I have seen enough. So let's set up a time. We'll talk about that. She immediately was like, whoop, right? She's a big girl. She's overweight, not real strong confidence. I get it. She goes, well, the truth is it might have to just be for the kids because my husband and I get really busy. And I know I'm out here right now, but, and basically she's doing all this backpedaling because going to black belt sounds a little scary. She doesn't know what it is. She doesn't know if she can do it. The fear is real. Our job is to calm them down. And I said, well, you know what? The best part is let's go ahead and meet and talk about it for the kids. And then if you and your husband decide to jump on there too, since it's a family membership, doesn't cost you any extra. And it doesn't have to be on the same timeline. Everyone progresses at their own pace, but you'll be able to keep training with your kids. And that's the best part of all, isn't it? And she's like, oh, yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. Okay. All right, let's go. So this week we're talking about black belt training. Now, again, I don't know where it's going to go, but I just know when people say the things they say, it's usually a self-protection mechanism. Just plug your ears and keep going. Okay. So I hope that's helpful. Yeah.
Very, sir. Thank you.
Good. All right. And again, and I know you asked about the current refund and my current price, this, that, the other thing. Cost is always a concern until value is understood, right? And once value is understood, the cost is no longer a concern. But let me give you guys one more tactic. Let's say your black belt membership is 36 months or 36 installments, right? Or let's say your basic membership is 12 installments. If you feel like this family is being 100% sincere and you feel like you want to go above and beyond and out of your way to try to help them, you could always extend the payments even more. Now think about that. Now we don't do this very often, but we have done it on rare occasion where a family, like our basic membership is $249 in Carmichael, our black belt membership is $299. We had a mama and she desperately wanted for her kid. I mean, like in tears, kind of wanted for her kid, but could not afford it. So she said, and we started high and we did all of our fallbacks and she really, really wanted it and just couldn't do it. She said, I just can't. I want to, I just can't. So, well, what if we kept your tuition the same? Would you do it then? She said, oh my God, yes. So we did whatever the math was. Just tell you, let's do the math. So 299, let's see, it was 30 times 35 is $10,465. Divide that by the current tuition of 249, and instead of 36 installments, it was 42 installments. Now, I'm not a fan of this, but I will pull it out to save a membership if necessary. Does that make sense? So now that's an additional 6 months of tuition payments. It's the same tuition, but now they're making installments over 42 months. Now, why would I do that? Well, most people aren't going to get their rank based on 2 days a week on the timeline that you'd prefer for the same reasons we talked about earlier: vacations, illness, parent night out, crazy soccer, swim, basketball season, whatever. A lot of times it takes longer. And people go, yeah, but what if? But what if they got there faster? Okay. How about this? What if you let them quit? Think about that. Now, here's an exercise we've done many times. If you go back over your mark, because I know a lot of you folks on this call have been doing this for 30 plus years, just like us. What if you could go back in time and have every single person that ever trained with you make just one more payment? How much money would that be? Think about that. Now, they still got to buy their gear and equipment. They're still going to rank promote. Their tuition is still the tuition. You've kind of, in a sense, kind of scholarship them, but not really, because you're going to collect the money on the back end. And maybe you won't. Maybe you won't, because we do know not everyone actually gets the black belt. But how many more payments will you collect by being a little bit more flexible on your terms? And then combined with the events that we have where we put memberships on sale and let them prepay to receive a discount, they might take advantage of that. Or you even have the option of, I mean, you could actually restrict it where if they're in like the last 6 months before reaching black belt, hey, we got to figure out how to get this tuition paid off so they can test on time. I mean, there's a lot of things we can do to accelerate the rate of pay down the road, but we got to keep people training longer. Got to keep training. So I hope that's helpful. So we got 12 minutes left on this hour here. Let's do a round robin and see what we're extracting from this Q&A call today. And let's start with our new best friend, Ms. Linda Nelson. Can you unmute yourself, ma'am?
Yes, sir. So I think it's just the concept I'm still wrapping my head around is going to an outcome-based versus what we were doing with 30 days cancellation. So I learned a lot of ins and outs of that already.
And I've got several things that I've uncovered that we can do even in New Hampshire. I look forward to sharing with you tomorrow morning. It's going to be great.
Beautiful.
And that outcome based is the kicker, because New Hampshire's, like I said, for the rest of you guys that don't know, New Hampshire's got the tightest restrictions I've ever seen. And but depending on how you put it together, it makes a difference on how you can conduct business. So that's great. All right, Dalton, what do you have to share, sir?
Don't cheapen your offer by extending it. If you're going to say it's valid for 24 hours or this day only, then that's it. And you can come up with something else, but it's not as good, but because, sign up when you ask.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And the reason is, again, just to reiterate, in the next 30 days, I'm going to ask you to commit to a bigger membership, provided I like you. Now, if you turn out to be a dud, I may not invite you to join Black Belt training because we're making a commitment also. Remember that, folks. You're not getting them to sign up. You're signing up too. They're going to commit to the payments. You're going to commit to that family. And if you don't, there's families, I don't want them here for the next 3 years. So we don't upgrade them. Now, that's very few and far between and extremely rare, but for me, in my mind, it's a vetting process. Do I want to be a part of this family's life for the next 3 years? So, and we're pretty open about that. I mean, we tell them, we start off on basic because it's to reach black belt's a big goal. It's a big commitment. I know you're not ready for that yet. And the truth is we don't invite everyone. Like one time I even had a dad and he goes, well, why can't you just tell me? It's not like, he said, what did he say? He goes, something about you, about it. And I said, whoa, 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 sir. I said, I think you misunderstand. We're trying to see if you qualify. He's like, what? I said, yeah, this is a qualification process for you. Not we're trying to get your money. We're trying to decide if we want to invite you. He's like, oh. I said, yeah, so do better. And when you change the way your perspective, it changes everything. Even the tour and orientation. This is an opportunity for you to come in to see if your family qualifies to be a part of our membership. Think of it like a country club. There's a big country club here in town, and they charge like $35,000 to join and $750 a month to maintain your membership. Well, I can't just go in there and write them a check for 35 or 37 grand and say I'm a member. No, 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 no. You have to have the recommendation of at least 2 existing members before they'll even talk to you. So it's not about the money. It's about, are you the right kind of person? Wild. So, I mean, I don't think you have to go quite that hardcore, but I think you need to have a touch of that. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not desperate to sign up anybody. I only want people that are going to be a good fit to our community that we're building here. All right. All right. Rich Silver said, what would you rather do? Discount a program or spread it along further months, longer terms? Longer terms any day. Because I'm not going to discount the membership. That is devaluing it. Making different payment arrangements, well, that's just making different financial arrangements. No big deal. The cost is the cost. We do incentivize the initial investment, the down payment. By enrolling today, we will use your 2-week trial that we now realize we don't need to wait 2 weeks. You're ready, you qualify. So we can take that 2-week trial you purchased and give you the real value of it. For a single, it's worth 125. For a family, it's worth 250. And to show you our confidence, we will match that savings for enrolling today. And then we'll do all of our fallbacks if we need to. But if you don't enroll today, okay, well, what if I use the 2 weeks first? Well, then I can't discount it because you will have used it. It's like if you buy a steak and send it back, you can't send it back after you ate it. You ate the darn thing. All right. Okay, so Eric Siley, take away. Good question, Mr. Silver.
Yeah, I'm figuring out how to steer my ship for the outcome based memberships. Somehow we've managed to have a good June and July, although we have way too many memberships that are on hold, right? Because we're doing term-based agreements.
Yes.
We have 150 members, and so I'm always listening to how you're doing with the school that you took over, because
yeah.
Turning the ship while it's going is a little bit different than
it takes a solid 90 days for sure.
Yeah.
However, even with your existing people that are on a term, let them know that, hey guys, to make it convenient for everyone, to make it easy, better word, to make it easy for everyone to understand the membership, moving forward, we can no longer put payments on hold. We will simply extend your expiration date to match whatever time is missed. That way, nothing is lost. And this is being recorded. So that's what you want to say. Moving forward.
That's what's actually in my agreement. I don't know. They talked my program manager into it.
We'll tell your program manager to read the contract. Hey, you know what? Today, before we start the class, I know with students, we call it a membership agreement. With cancellations, this is a legal binding contract. It is a legal document. Let's read. I don't think we've read through this recently. Let's read it right now. And maybe even, you can kind of make it fun where here, I'll read it. We'll switch off every paragraph and just read through it. And when you get to that point, go, ooh, we haven't been following our own rules. All right, you know what? To keep ourselves legally sound and safe, we got to make sure we follow the contract that they've signed. So I think moving forward, here, let's practice. Let's pretend you're a mom calling me, stop my payments, we're going on vacation, we'll be back in 3 weeks. Here's what I will say. Okay, now your turn. And do it back and forth a few times. Get them to actually say the words so that they hear it coming out of their own mouth. But I know back in the day when we used to do day and date, person said, yeah, we're going to be gone for the summer. So I want to let you know, we need to put our membership on hold. Great. Where are you going? It's not adversarial. Joining oh, that's exciting. Where are you going? Oh, we're going to Florida for 2 weeks. Oh, do you guys have any big plans? Yeah, we're going to Disney World. Oh, that sounds so fun. That's great. Well, you know what? Make sure to take some pictures and drop them in the group and we can share in the fun vicariously. That sounds great. Okay, thank you. I just want to let you know. No, not to worry, but to be clear, I don't want there to be any misunderstanding. The way the membership works is anytime a person's going to miss more than a week, like 2 weeks or more, well, we extend the expiration date to match so nothing is lost. So the payment still comes out on whatever day it's coming out, but the time is added onto the membership with no additional payments to make sure you get to use all of it. Okay. Oh, well, you don't stop the payment? No, ma'am. However, we do extend the expiration date so nothing is lost. So oh, okay, done. because people will try to push you because again, people get real stern when you're talking about their money sometimes. Most of the time it's no big deal. But if a person does push back, just hold your ground. Well, whoa, now you find out the truth. Were they full of smoke and they're just trying to stop charging their card? Do they really want to cancel, don't have the guts to tell you? Or are they being honest? And I will tell you, every time they're being honest, it's no big deal. Sometimes they go, well, yeah, but we don't know if we're coming back. Well, that's a different conversation. Then here's how we can cancel your membership. You want to do option A,
Yeah.
option B. And either way, it's okay. I mean, in fact, what we can do maybe tomorrow is, cancellations are a steady stream of income. And since you know people are going to cancel, what do you have in place to make it mutually beneficial? In other words, they get out of the rest of their contract and your school doesn't get hurt as badly as they would like. Right? But I mean, we do a few $1,000s a month in cancellations where they're happy about it. So we can get into that later. But to go back to vacations, just talk to your enrollment director and say, hey, we haven't read through this contract in quite a while. Let's look through this together and then let's talk about it. And then and then when you get to that point, just do a little 5-minute role playing practice.
Okay.
All right, here, I'll go, you go. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's do it again. I'll go, you go, maybe a third time. All right, let's do that. End of conversation. Don't make it a big deal. Just talk about this is the procedure we have to follow.
Yep.
Cool. Very good.
Sounds good.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sounds good, sir. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Let me know how that goes. All right, Kevin, take us out. One final takeaway.
Actually, that previous comment that you had made about the upgrades is actually a contract with us. We have to decide. We're committing to them as well, not just them committing to us. And I think that was an additional piece that I had not really thought through. It's like, oh, this is a two-sided thing. I'm actually going to commit myself to getting this person to their goal. And I think that's also something that should kind of be highlighted. Hey, this is between both of us. You're going to do this. I'm going to do this for you guys. We're going to do this together. Let's go. And I think that's a huge, huge addition to the mindset of the upgrades that it's going to really help me.
Excellent. Because remember, guys, first and foremost, we are in the relationship business. And it's just as much us committing to them as it is them committing to us, in my opinion. And that will help you also keep your head on straight on what you will and won't do for people. I refuse to let anyone take advantage of us, me or my team. There's rules of engagement. And once you decide what the rules of engagement are, it takes all the pressure off the emotional component of, well, I feel bad, or what if this, what if that. These are the rules, these are the procedures, these are the processes. We just got to follow the rules. And it also, for any of you guys that are one-man show, it takes the pressure off of, I'm doing this to you. No. I'm not doing anything. The rules are X. And Kevin, you're one-man show right now, right? So I mean, that's a big pressure relief. Well, the way the school is set up, we have to do X, Y, and Z in order to do A, B, and C. So let's get started. Right? For example. But instead of me, I'm not making you do this. I'm not saying you can't do this. I'm not saying you can do this. The procedure is X. Let's follow that. And that just makes your life so much easier. It's not personal, it's professional. Beautiful. All right, guys. Well, we are out of time. I appreciate everyone being here, and we'll see quite a few of you guys tomorrow. Anyone who's listening in on the call that is not a part of our private coaching group, reach out on school to myself, Master Mertens, or Mr. Roman Peschke here, and we'll help you accelerate your school's growth. And there's not anyone on the call here that couldn't make an additional $10,000 this month if you have the right conversations and enough of them. So on that note, have a great day. And what are we in? Happy middle of July. All right. Bye for now.
What holds most people back is something they don't even realize. They don't know what they don't know because they're too busy talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good for you. You have a big staff. How many folks are on your staff?
No, I don't have a big staff. I have maybe 4. I have 4 people.
Yes.
But only 2 are on payroll.
Okay, great.
And I have my own kids who are on payroll as well, but you know how that goes.
Yeah. How your children are how old? I guess they're young adults.
Yes, yeah, they're 18, 17, and then I have my two older ones. They
Is,
are doing their own thing.
that's great. Well, the kids that are helping you out, is this your chosen path? They're going to hang in there with you?
No, I don't want them to do it.
Very seldom does a martial art operation make the second generation. And who knows? I mean, we could
Very tough.
speculate why that happens. Well, heck, we're just, I'm sorry, say again, sir.
It's a cutthroat business. You have to really be into it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Well, you either love it or you don't, right?
You gotta, I mean, once you have been in it, so I got no choice.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me, are you going to make it? And I said, I have no choice but to make it.
Yeah. No plan B, burn the ships. Well, very good. Well, sir, I didn't write your name down. Would you repeat your name for me?
Habib, Habi.
Habib. Well, sir, I'm glad you're on the call. All right, guys. Well, it's official. It's 2:00. Let's get this thing kicked off. Yes, the pun was intended. Hey, Mondays we use this block of time to address questions, concerns. If you want to share a comment about some of the ideas that we promote and encourage you to put into your system, well, now's the time. So this is a friendly phone call. There are no crazy answers. Well, wait a minute. I got to reverse that. There are no crazy questions. But yeah, there could be some crazy answers based on your experience. So with that, let's get cooking. Hey, I've got something for you. As a matter of fact, I'm hot off the assembly line. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm actually at the Ponte Vedra location. It's a beautiful beach community in Greater Jacksonville, and I came here straight from staff training. And one of the things we addressed today as a concern was some of the newer folks on staff are very uncomfortable when it comes to promoting the next step for a student. Because typically the next step, what it includes is maybe some type of offer, some type of sale. You have to ask for money. So one of the things we're doing for the balance of this month, to make sure our month ends with a bang, is that we're extending the invitation to families to do two things. Number one is maybe rethink the goal of the membership for their kid or for themselves. Like help them set a goal. And again, we're not talking about signing a new contract, but just the conversation about setting a longer term goal. One of the things that we pointed out in staff training is that sometimes the closer somebody gets to a goal, it's like they let off the gas. Hey, haven't you noticed even in foot races, like when they come down last yards, their arms go out like, oh, I'm crossing the finish line. I think that can serve as what really happens to the average karate guy, and particularly your students. They set a goal, and the closer they get to the goal, well, doesn't it seem like there's a lot of interruptions? I mean, haven't you ever heard this before? Well, we're going to test for our black belt this summer, and then we're going to take a break. Hey, everybody on this call has heard that. And the reason why you hear that is because what I've just said out loud is true. The closer you get to the goal or the outcome of whatever it is you have in mind or planned, the less likely you'll continue that bold, outgoing, aggressive effort. So that's part of what we wanted to address. And the second part is, we need to help our students in more way than one. And one of the best and perhaps the easiest way to help your students is if you can help them save money. Yeah, I'm talking about money now. Save money on tuition. So what we did today was I taught the group how to open up a very, very simple conversation that will allow you to engage the parent or the adult student, and then gently kind of redirect them to where you potentially could put them on a bigger membership or maybe extend them a savings for a prepayment. So here's how it goes. For the less trained salesperson, talking about an offer can be very, very uncomfortable. So what we do here in Jacksonville and all Greater Florida is that I give this staff a theme to speak about each month. And this month, the one-on-one conversation starts with this. Mrs. Lewis, we're getting real close to the start of the new year, the new school year. And as we all know, sometimes our schedule gets a little jumbled. So what I like to do is take a moment, we can do it now, sit down and decide which classes you'll be coming to during the school year. This way I can keep an eye on Tommy, hold him accountable. And I see here over the summer, you were coming Monday and Wednesdays. Is that the same days you're going to keep, or we need to modify that schedule? Again, this is a very simple introduction to talk about something that is actually really important. And that is to demonstrate how much you care about this family, how much you care about the student, how much you care about the student's progress, and to make sure they're on task, they're on track. But the real reason we're doing this is so we're able to create that connection. And once you create that connection, here's what we coach the folks. And for you guys that just popped on the call, hang in here. You'll figure out what I'm talking about in just a second. We need to change their mind about where we're taking them. So after we do that simple introduction about modifying the schedule if needed because of the new school year, we make the transition where we do what we call a projection. We said, Mrs. Lewis, I was reviewing your child's progress. You know, the rate he's going, heck, he's going to earn his black belt by this time next year. Well, maybe it's not too premature. Congratulations. And you know what I found? And then I repeat what I said to you earlier. The closer a student gets to their goal, sometimes the less emphasis they place on their training. So here's what we should do. Let's create a new goal for your youngster. My recommendation is let's plan for the future. Let's plan for your student to become a third-degree advanced black belt here in Karate America. Now, it's going to take about 4 years. So let's do the math here. So that means by the time your child enters 9th grade, I tell you, if he puts in the training, he'll be a third-degree black belt. And I guarantee he'll have a different experience compared to most. So what I'm just asking you for is for you and I to agree that we're going to set this goal for your youngster. Let's do that. And of course, they always buy in. Now, I haven't invited them to sign up for anything, but here's where the money part comes in. And Mrs. Smith, I don't know if we've ever had this conversation, but have I ever explained how a family can save money on tuition? Well, whether you have or you haven't makes no difference. They'll say, well, go ahead and explain it. See, ma'am, when a family prepays a 48-month membership, they save what's equivalent to 1 year of tuition, 25%. That's $3,000. Can we go ahead and double down, reset your child's goal to become on my third degree, and let's save $3,000 on your tuition? May I use a card on file, or is there another form of payment? No, well, hold on now. You're talking kind of fast. Well, how much would that be? And you tell them whatever it is. It's $9,694. So card on file, another form of payment. Now, you got to be that cavalier when asking for money, because the moment a family or a person you're selling to sense any type of upset from you as far as the way you're delivering the request, well, they're going to feel as though it may not be the right thing to do. So be real cool about it. So ask for the $9,964. Now, if they're unable to pay it, and typically they'll give you a reason or an excuse or an explanation. Like it may sound like this. Well, listen, I'm all for setting a bigger goal because I think my kid's going to be here forever. But right now, with the new school year starting, my husband taking on a new job, and the vacation we're going to take in December, we simply can't do that. Now, they didn't say no. They just simply said they couldn't do that. I did not hear the word no, so I'm going to forge ahead. And I'm going to remind them that they didn't say no. And here's what this sounds like. Well, Ms. Lewis, before you say no to the savings, I mean, $3,000, nobody's opposed to saving that much. Let's do this. Let's take this new tuition amount that saves all that money and break it up into 3 installments. First one due today. Well, we can do that. And of course, you'll have the math figured out ahead of time. And for this conversation, it would be 3 conversations at $3K. And you can space them out however much you like. You know, sometimes 3 payments, 3 months in a row might be a little bit tight. They go, oh, I think I'd like to. Say, well, do you need a little bit more time? Now, let's do this. Let's take care of the first installment today and the next 2 spaced out 45 days. We can do this for you. So card on file, another form of payment. And if they're still unable to do it, oh, weren't you listening? We need a new carburetor. Are there such things as carburetors now? Well, let me change it. We need a new muffler. And I think the roof is leaking. And we got to buy some school clothes. And let's not forget about that new computer my kid's going to need for high school. Well, you fall back again. Well, Mrs. Lewis, sounds like saving money is even more important. So here's what we can do. Let's take the tuition amount that saves all that money and break it up into 10 equal installments of $900. First one due today. Let's get started. You want to use a card on file, another form of payment. Now, if they still can't do it, I don't want to end on a no. And I really pressed hard with the staff today because let me just point something out. You know, when it comes to money, it can be there can be moments of embarrassment, particularly when you don't have enough money to do what you want to do. You know, so here we have a parent who's very supportive. She loves her kid in the membership. She really appreciates the staff and all the great work we're doing, but she simply doesn't have the funds. I don't want her to get up and walk out feeling bad. I mean, she's going to be disappointed that she wasn't able to save the money. And to a degree, she's going to be disappointed about disappointing us. because most people think, as you pay more money, it's also a way of gracious saying thank you. So I don't want to end on that. I want to end on a yes. And ladies and gentlemen, here's how you do it. Say, Miss Lewis, I realize now is not the right time for the Wilson family, the Lewis family, whatever family I just said. Now is not the right time to save money on tuition. And that's okay. He's doing great. And the fact that we've made up our minds to set the goal to third degree, well, that's even going to be better. But moving forward, if there's ever an opportunity for me to help you save on tuition, can I reach out and tell you about it? That's when you get your yes. There are no hard feelings, no level of embarrassment, and everything is good. So the question that I had today that I addressed that I'm bringing into this conversation is, how do you start a conversation about cashing somebody out for 4 years? Well, you talk about something, anything other than what you're presenting. And what you need to do, though, is tie it in to the dynamic of your program. And what we're doing here in Florida this month is we're bringing up the idea that school's in session in just a few weeks. And we're just doing one-on-ones. Mrs. Lewis, it's that time of year again. School's officially going to start in 3 weeks. Do you believe it? And I know that when school starts, sometimes schedules get a little jumbled up. So I'm going to sit down with you and decide which classes your kid will come to, and I'm going to keep my eye on them, hold them accountable. So right now, it looks like you're coming every Monday and Wednesday. You're going to keep that class time? Is there another time that would be best? And whatever they decide. And again, they're not signing off a contract that they'll be there. There's a verbal agreement. That's when they're going to show up. And then make mention of it or note it on your cards. Mission accomplished. Then the next step to start the conversation about changing their membership, changing their mind, changing the amount of monies they pay you is to target black belt. And I don't care if the kid is a white belt or he's about to test for his black belt, bring that topic up. So I'm just going to, let's say the kid's a purple belt. Oh, Miss Lewis, and there's one more thing. Your son is more than halfway to his black belt. And I've done the math, and it looks like, well, probably the start of his next school year, not this one, but next one, he's going to walk into black belt. That's congratulations, pretty exciting. However, I want to point out that sometimes as a student gets closer to the goal, they back off as far as effort. And the one thing I know for the many years I've been teaching is that I think at this point for your son, it's time to set a big, bold goal. I want your child to be one of my third degrees as advanced level black belt. It's going to take about 4 years to get there. So let's do the math. That means by the time he walks into 9th grade in his high school, well, he's going to have a different experience compared to most. Okay, so again, this is the goal we're going to set for ourselves. Okay, yeah, perfect. Now I got to bring up the money. Mrs. Lewis, I don't know if you've ever talked about this before, but there is another way to pay for your child's tuition. This would actually save you a lot of money. May I explain? Always ask permission before you ask for money. That's like got to be a golden rule. Yeah, go ahead and explain. When a family prepays their program, they save a significant amount. For example, setting the goal to third degree, it's going to take about 48 months. And when a family prepays a program that's 48 months long, they save 25%. That's like saving a whole year of tuition. May I go ahead and use the card on file to save you all that money, or is there another form of payment you'd like to use? What's best? And then shut up. Either they will or they won't. If they don't, you do your fallback. Before you say no to the savings, here's what we can do. Just take the amount, saves all that tuition, break them 3 installments. First one due today. The next 2 we can space. The next 2 we can space out 30, 45 days. What's best? They can't do that. Fall back one more time and tell them, and Mrs. Lewis, I'm going to do my absolute best to help you save on tuition because I think that's the only thing we can do to make your membership better. So why don't we do this? Let's take this new amount that saves you a year tuition, $3,000, and break it up into 10 equal installments. First one due today. And from month 11 on, we don't even talk about tuition until your child's one of our advanced black belts. So do I use a card on file? Another form of payment? What's best? So gentlemen and ladies, you see there's just a real tight loop. But one of the most difficult things to do sometimes is ask for money. And if you go directly into asking for money or lead with a discount, you're going to hear more no's than you ever anticipated. It's not about the money. It's not about the discount. It's about the additional level of value and convenience. However, if you talk about the money straight away, the potential buyer has what's his reaction? Well, trying to sell him something, trying to go for the cash. So you need to gently invite someone to consider a prepayment by doing 3 things. Number 1, identifying how much they'll save. Next, what's changing in terms of the membership and the outcome. And the third, demonstrate you care. before you ever start talking about money. So for now until school starts, the way you can start a conversation with anyone about anything is bring up the school schedule. That's that time of year again. School's about to start in 3 weeks. And typically everybody's schedule gets a little wacky. So, Ms. Lewis, let's take a minute out and decide moving forward once the new school year begins, when your kid will be taking class. Start the conversation with that, and now you can take it anywhere because it demonstrates you're paying attention. It demonstrates that you care about this kid. It demonstrates that you have further consideration for this family. It demonstrates that they really do belong with you. All right, that was a pretty good ramble there. So I'm curious, what are some takeaways or questions about answering that question? Linda, welcome to the call. You got to have a question. Come on now.
I always have questions.
Well, fire one out. It doesn't have to be about this. It can be about, this is an open call.
Yeah, actually, the one I was going to reference a takeaway. Always ask permission before talking about money.
Oh, absolutely.
Powerful.
One of the things we got to realize is that there are 4 topics you got to be very sensitive about, and it's sex, religion, politics, and you guessed it, money. And whenever you bring up the idea of money, you got to make sure that the other person is willing to participate. So, ladies and gentlemen, moving forward, if you're ever going to talk about money, particularly kind of money that you allow your students to save on tuition by prepaying, always ask first. Mrs. Lewis, there is another way to pay for your child's tuition. On this membership, that's a pretty substantial savings, about $1,200. May I explain? So when they say yes, we know a few things have happened. 1, I know they're listening. 2, I now can begin a conversation with a specific outcome, and that is do my best to offer to save the money. And the third thing is it just shows that you're a cool, calm, collected, I dare say you have almost an elegant finesse about sales. If you ask first, it works best. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. In the meantime, you get out on your boat or no?
No, not yet.
All right. Well, good luck with that. All right, Dalton, it's wonderful to have you back, sir. And I see you're taking some notes. If you read the last line you wrote, what does it read? Go ahead. Tell the truth. Shame that devil.
Try not to end on a no, but it doesn't mean you only have to ask for money.
There we go. On everything. The truth is, when you think about somebody, go, oh, he's a nice guy, or she's a nice lady, or oh, they're a great person, is typically you say that because there's no friction in the relationship. Particularly in our environment, they weren't being sold or tricked or high pressured. So you don't have people feel the pressure of having to say no to you. You always want to flip it to a yes. Well, it looks like now's not the right time to save. That's okay. It looks like now is not the right time to rearrange your schedule. And well, if a break is needed, let's do it together. You just be nice, guys. Be nice. Because the truth of the matter is we are in the relationship business. And there's good news and bad news about that. The good news is we get to help people. The bad news is I can't think of a more difficult business. Of all things you can do, anything involved a relationship, doctor, lawyer, accountant, karate guy, karate girl, it can be rather challenging because, again, it requires a degree of finesse and careful dialogue and interaction. And by the way you communicate. Eric, look at you. Camera's on. I'm going to go ahead and ask you, what is your question, sir? What challenges are you dealing with?
Well, I just logged in today. I'm glad to be on the call. I was interviewed on the news, and in the 24 hours since I've been in my academy, I got 17 leads to follow up on. So,
oh my goodness. Well, congrats. So were you a news item on channel 6 at 6 p.m.?
Yeah. I was interviewed. There was an assault at one of our lakes. A couple 13-year-old girls were groped, and the key in dealing with the media is just to be available. From the time they called me until the time they had a camera crew at my school was 30 minutes, Okay. And so they interviewed me about tips, and now I'm going to be doing some special, kid safe training, as a follow on to that. Now from my notes here, on the money thing, one of the things I had taken away, I think, from a previous call is taking the pressure off. I love a yes. I'm okay with it. I'm trying to think of the exact verbiage that you all had done. I love a now is not the right time is one, but there was another one that is I love a yes, I'm okay with a no, kind of thing. I don't remember the exact verbiage. It was either you or Master Peshke on it. When it comes to decision time to give someone an off ramp.
Master Pesky, does anything come to mind real quick?
We want to make sure, I mean, our goal is always get to the truth. And the truth is some
Right.
will, some won't, so what? I don't have to get you to enroll. I want to get the people that want to be a part of this. The better I get at my dialogue and my communication, the more people I can draft in. 20% of the people are not going to enroll no matter what. So we're going to get no's. Let's not be upset about it. Let's let them land softly. Maybe that's what I said. You know, because sometimes they'd say, well, I just can't afford it. I had a family a week or so ago, and the dad goes, oh, this is a lot more than I thought it was going to be. I said, what do you mean? And he goes, well, in Afghanistan, we paid $50. And I was like, it's kind of taken back for a minute. And I said, well, the good news is we're not in Afghanistan anymore. And he goes, yeah, no kidding. And I said, but, you know, is there, you know, maybe we can do this. And we went through all the fallbacks and even the 14-day guarantee, and it just wasn't going to work. I mean, you can't get blood from a turnip. So I said, well, sir, let's do this. Rather than use up the 2 weeks and get the kids even more excited about something we now know might be out of reach at the moment, let's do this. Let's press pause. And then that way we can preserve this for when things are a little better and we are able to take advantage of the savings. And then we'll reconnect then and get the kids started when the time is right for your family. Does that make sense for you, sir? And he goes, oh my gosh, thank you so much. That would be great. Thank you. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We let him preserve his dignity. We let him land softly, and we part as friends where he still thinks that we're good people and he's not upset. But 20% are not going to enroll. Now, the flip side of that is at least 10, maybe 20% will enroll no matter what. You could put a Dropbox on the counter and say, leave your money here, and they just would. They'd already decided. But then there's that 60% in between, which relies completely on how good we are at communicating value and benefits. How good are we at uncovering the pain points? How good are we at providing a future forecast of what this program will do for them? How good are we at getting them to take their skull and kind of look through our eyeballs to see what we see? And that's what really separates the amateurs from the professionals. You know, if you're following our enrollment process, you should be able to convert at least half, 50%. That is the baseline metric. Now, when I say convert, though, I mean convert by collecting real money. You know, I did a call earlier with a guy in the East Coast, and he was shocked to find out that we collect on average just north of $700. But then we took him through the math of it and helped him realize, and he's like, holy cow, okay, I want to do that. So, you know, when you realize that there is a plan and a process for everything, it makes it easier. Now let's get really, really good at it. So we can go from 50% to 60% to 70, maybe even 80% conversion rate. Now, I mean, it just makes everything fun. So I kind of went off on a rant there, Master Siley, but did that address your question?
It does. Just having a pressure valve, you know, when you ask the money, you know, pressure relief to where people are comfortable. Now go back to the 14-day guarantee is not.
Yes.
I've been on quite a few of the calls, and the 14-day guarantee is not one I think I've heard
That
of
is our
before.
Hail Mary to find out if you're telling me the truth or not. Because you know people
Okay.
lie. I mean, we're all aware of that, right? Everyone knows people lie. People make up, and they don't do it to be mean or spiteful. They do it to save face. They say silly things like, well, I'm going to go home and check my finances. I need to break out my spreadsheet. You really think someone does that? That's ridiculous. They're saying, or they, how about this one? Well, let me check with my wife. I mean, I've used that one myself. I had a guy, I answered a call in the car, and he was trying to sell me something. I was like, well, you know, and he just wouldn't shut up. And finally I said, well, you know, let me check with my wife. I'll get back to you. And he got so excited. Oh, great. Yeah, do that, do that. And I hang up the phone. He finally lets me get off. At which point my wife, who's sitting next to me, cuts her eyes at me and she goes, I can't believe you just did that. It was the only way to get out of there. He wouldn't let me go. So my point is people will tell you things that they think you will accept that sound reasonable. And so what we do, you know, and There's several ways to do this. The one I enjoy the most is we talk about the tuition broken into 6 installments. Our basic membership will take you about 12 months to complete. And to do that, well, heck, it's just 6 installments of $498. And then the second half of your membership, there's no tuition due. And we go big. And if they say, oh, that's a lot of money. Well, don't worry. Let's chop it up. Chop, chop. Let's do the first payment, and then we'll just have 10 more at half price. That makes it only $249 a month. Can we do that? Let's do that. Well, yeah, but that's still $600 today. Well, I don't want to let the money get in the way of what matters, and that's helping your family. So let's do this. Let's take the tuition, break it up over the whole 12 months, and then you have 12 installments of $249, first one due today, and of course, the balance of the initial investment. We'll do that for you. This matters. Oh, you'll do that for us? Yes, great. If they say, well, no, I still, I got to think about it, check my wife, check my bank, check my sock drawer. I got to do whatever I got to do. I say, well, in unique circumstances like this, we do make sure that everyone knows that we do have a 14-day money-back guarantee, which does 2 things. Number one, it allows you to essentially use the whole 2 weeks of the trial and yet simultaneously take full advantage of the discounted enrollment fee to save all that money. Because if at any time in the next 2 weeks you aren't thrilled with our program, if you don't love it as much as I know you will, if you think you made any kind of mistake at all, you let us know and we will shred that membership and give you every penny back. There's nothing at risk for you. Does that sound fair to you, Mrs. Smith? Now, if she still says no, let it go. They are never going to enroll.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I wanted to just try a class first. Okay, all right, let's move on. Because I tell the story quite often. One of our guys, Master Matsumoto, is a deep sea fisherman also. In fact, during COVID, he was doing charters. In fact, Master Martins, he just bought a new boat last week.
Congratulations.
Got a new fishing boat. Anyway, one time we all went out, and there's people on both sides of the boat casting lines down 100+ feet. And we started reeling it in. It's like, oh, I got one. And the guy on the other side, oh, I got one. I got one too. I got one. The deckhand's like going nuts. We all start reeling, and everyone gets about halfway up, and then we're all pulling. Everyone's rods and reels are going at the same time. He's like, uh-oh. We're like, what? And he goes, y'all are just tangled up. We're like, what? We go. Nobody can get. So he goes around. Once he realized what happened, he took his shears and he just ran around the boat. Everyone's poof. And we're like, whoa. I mean, that's a lot of hooks and a lot of weights that he just cut loose. And he goes, oh no. He goes, man, it is easier to do it again than to try to untangle that mess. Sometimes you just got to cut the line. We do everything we can, but because we follow a procedure, we know when it's time to cut the line. It's not emotional. There's no desperation. I'm going to go through all the steps. And when the steps are done, we move on. And I let you go. We hug it out and say, hey, you're always welcome back.
So on you're doubling up the payments where you're saying $498 a month, and they're over the term of this, because I noticed, I'd mentioned looking at all my pricing because I signed my daughter up for competitive volleyball.
Remember you talking about that?
Yeah, I just signed her up again. She made the national competition team for 13-year-olds, and I looked at what they did with the billing, and it's $35.60 overall, but they broke it up into payments. So I did my $712 down payment for July, and then in September, then I'll have 4 more payments monthly in September, to where I'll be paid off well before the end of the season. And
hey, they're catching on. They're catching on.
That's volleyball, and I look at what I'm charging. And so you're saying on a year-long program you had it in 6 payments?
That's
what
correct.
You said?
That is correct. And what's really fun is for the family. We always pitch the family first, and your whole family can train and save $490 to get started. So that means today it's only $190. Isn't that great? Yeah, it's great. Then for the tuition, well, we break it up into 6 installments of $996. And then the second half of your membership, there's no more tuition due. Let's get started. But I literally say it that nonchalantly. All of our staff says it, that you got to make the money no big deal in order for it to not be a big deal.
Yeah.
It's just money. But
we got to go back to the 3 buttons you have to push to be successful. The first button is you have to enroll new students each and every month for the rest of your career. And whatever number you pick, that's the number you have to hit. 16, 18, 20, 22 members a month, whatever it is. That's number one. Number next is you have to charge a premium for everything. If you want to claim to be the best martial art academy in your community, your neighborhood, your city, your town, your state, you have to be the most expensive. And I think most karate guys have been sheltered from the idea that other like industries charge real money. Master Pisky and I worked with Premier Fencing Academy. They're in Sacramento, or where are they now?
Yeah, they're in Sacramento still. Yeah.
Yes, Google them, Premier Fence Academy. And we designed their membership with their premium program for the athletically minded fencer, $900 a month, 48-month requirement. Do the math on that, ladies and gentlemen. So the truth is, I think the average karate guy is still paying attention to people who are wonderful on the mat, but lousy in the office. And that's reflected by poor sales strategy or low pricing. It's unfortunate, but we can't discount our way to success.
Well, and I think most karate guys come from broke and or broken backgrounds, and we never had.
But let me get to the third one.
Oh, sorry.
I said the first one is you got to roll a steady number of new students forever. I mean, get over it, guys, just forever. Second, charge a premium for all things. Charge real money. But third, and here is the real secret, collect what is due faster. If somebody agrees to become one of my black belts and they've agreed that they're going to put in the work, 300 classes over the course of 3 years, I'm going to invite them to prepay their membership. By helping people pay faster, everything changes for the better. As a matter of fact, if you want to increase your retention, have more people prepay. Because the truth is, the way we decide if somebody has quit or not, but not they're continuing to pay. Usually they stop paying, then they're gone. But my point is this, if you want to generate consistent income and enjoy a professional lifestyle, you have to enroll a set number of students each and every month, charge a premium for everything, all things, and whatever it is you want your students to have, they have to acquire more quickly, and they got to pay it off fast. And if you just have this strategy each day, every day in your business, you'll just see things differently.
Yep.
You know, right now, if you look at the first class you have tonight, right now, there's somebody in class that would love to save money with you. So look at the next class, whoever has the highest balance, talk about the schedule, talk about the kid getting the black belt, and talk about saving on tuition, and watch what happens. This is a very simple business. I did not say easy. And what makes it simple is you know what conversation you have to have next. Go have it. And as Master Pesky said moments ago, as you understand the dialogue and where you want to take somebody in your presentation, it just gets easier. It becomes fun. And everybody knows that you're for real, you're telling the truth, you're being consistent. And that's how you build a successful enterprise. Very good. But what Master Pesky was mentioning, you want to finish up on that idea?
Gosh, what did I say?
I was hoping you remembered.
It was going to be good, I swear. It was going to be real good. I think most of us come from these broke and or broken backgrounds where we didn't have much, and then we start doing better, and we think everyone's where we were. But the truth is, times have changed, and the people that want our services the most are the people that are more closely aligned, Master Siley, with where you are now. The fact that you're doing that program for your daughter, why wouldn't somebody do a similar payment system for their daughter to do martial arts? Yeah. I think martial arts is the most impactful thing any parent could ever invest in for their child, ever. It's good for you physically, it's good for you mentally, it's good for you emotionally. It trumps everything else out there. And yet we're afraid to ask for even as much money as to play volleyball. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, my personal belief is everyone wants to do martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
The next time you're in a movie theater or you're around people watching a thriller and a fight breaks out and you see those karate moves, watch how everybody jumps and twitches, and people love martial arts. They love watching it. But the problem is most people don't have a great introduction to it. So, but the truth is, I think everybody would do martial arts if we really got better at presenting our memberships, presenting our offers, encouraging people to take that all important first class, and then encourage them to enroll. I think everybody wants to do martial arts. The people that don't, 9 times out of 10, either they had an experience or they had a secondary interaction with someone who had a bad experience. Oh, well, my friend signed up for that karate school. He took the money and ran. Well, first off, lady, he didn't take any money, but he may have ran because you don't take the money and run. In the karate business, if you take the money, you stay. That was meant to be clever, but I guess it didn't land. But what we're talking about now is how do you become more profit minded? Well, it's real simple. Help and have everyone buy everything you want. Many years ago, when I first started working side by side with Master Pesci, some 10, 11, it might be 12 years ago, I've lost track. We were in this big office, and one of the walls was painted with this material that you could dry erase on. And we just asked the question, if a student did everything we want them to do for a lifelong martial artist, what would that look like? And we just created this laundry list of all this stuff, the equipment, the merchandise, the gear, the experiences of going to camps for certification or tournaments, the membership itself, the testing fees. So we created this long list of all the stuff that we wanted them to experience in order to become a lifelong martial artist. Then to the right of it, we put little price tags on it. At that time, 10, 11 years ago, might have been 12, it was how much, sir?
$18,000.
$18,000. We both stood back and thought, why haven't we been thinking about this? See, most companies do. Before they put this on the market, they said, oh, we're going to charge $1,500. Before they put this on the market, oh, we're going to charge 98 cents. Before we put our membership on the market, what is it that we want them to have? And most of us never consider that. We piecemeal it together. Listen, if you don't help your students start with a plan, they're not planning to stay with you. And the plan has to do with their engagement in your membership, the goals you help them set, the financial exchange that you have with them. But the truth is, if we don't start with the money in mind, you may always struggle. But Freddie, I don't want to be about the money. Teach at the park. No, I didn't mean to be so harsh. But just change your mind about that. Pick your income. Because listen, I know people personally that net millions of dollars a year in their martial art business. Again, that was plural, millions. And I also know people in this business that are struggling to make rent. What's the difference? The difference is how they think about their business and what actions they take each and every day. And that's what we're all about. We're here to help you pick your direction and get all the tools you need. And most of the tools are nothing tangible, but it's your thinking and your ability to have these wonderful conversations with your members and the ability to run your business as a business by doing the right presentations. So there's got to be another question out there. You guys that didn't turn your cameras on.
We have a couple questions in the chat. Kyle asks, some students say they don't want to train in a room with kids. Any rebuttal for that?
Sure. Put them on a better membership. If somebody tells me I don't want to train with kids, I'm going to translate that. I'm taking this training really seriously, and I want to be a badass martial artist. But I don't know, with little Billy in class, I find him to be a little annoying. That's what they just said to you. So ramp it up. How serious are you? And then perhaps offer them some type of additional type of training. It could be maybe adults only, but charge a premium. What's interesting is that a lot of us think that I need to give more without adding more to their tuition. No, that's not so. So if you do have an adult who says, I don't want to be with kids, challenge that. So, well, how serious are you? Well, let's do this. And then offer them another method of training if it fits your schedule. Heck, there's a guy down in South Florida. I don't have his permission to talk about him, but his business name sounds like dynamite. Anyway, he charges 25 grand a year for his one-offs. He has an executive program where he trains these men at early in the morning, 5, 6, 7 a.m. And it's $25,000 a year. There's only one way you can pay, and that's in advance. I know he does a half dozen a year. I'm going to say that one again. He only sells a half dozen a year. That's just a part-time morning gig. He gets his workout in. He's training these people and creating relationships. We are in an unregulated business. The only thing that holds some of us back are the type of memberships you can write in your state. But as far as what you do on the mat and what you do in memberships, do what you will. And what you need to consider is, how can I have the greatest impact on everyone I come in contact with? And if somebody does come to me and say, hey, I want to be serious, I don't want to be in a class with some kids. Don't worry, I can figure out something. Kyle, did that help you at all?
All right. Well,
Yeah, yeah, that did. Thanks.
Hey, Kyle, when I was in New Jersey in Edison, literally a short walk was a train station in Manhattan. And I had a crew of guys that trained every Tuesday and Thursday morning. The class started at 5:50. They were walking out of the building by 7 to catch their train. And there was only one membership, it was 2,400, not 24,000 a year. So I enrolled 2, 3 men every single month with that. Every single month. However, I had to surrender my mornings, but it was well worth it because I tell you, I created relationships with guys that really made a difference for me. All right, Kyle, go for it. All right, who else we got? Master Pesky?
Let's see. We have iPhone 5 says, how would you handle a parent with a special needs child who is willing to pay, but it would be a huge distraction to the class? That is,
Let me take the first stab at it, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Number one is this. You teach one type of structure class that will accommodate the types of students you want to help. If a student doesn't fit with that crowd, they can't be part of that group. And I know that sounds rather harsh, but we have to protect the whole. We are in the group class business. And to do one-offs, unless they're charging a premium, ain't no group. So again, sight unseen, my recommendation is if you're going to offer a different type of membership that would address those concerns, well, go for it. But if you just want to simply massage it, maybe give them a special one-off effort, you might want to rethink that. Master Pesky, what do you think?
Yeah, if they cannot, we're in the business. We decided a long time ago we can't be all things to all people. So we do have quite a few special need kids, various levels of autism, ADD, ADHD. If we can have them participate in the class and simply do their best, then we will enroll them. If they cannot participate in the class, i.e. stay on their dot, then we let them know, hey, they're not quite ready yet, but let's try it again down the road in a few months. Maybe reach out to us around Thanksgiving and we can certainly try it again. And for now, let's press pause on the trial so that we can use at a later date when it makes more sense. Same idea as before. And what's wild is parents, if you go first and you're open, honest, and direct, people will appreciate it. We've turned away a number of kids that were just too autistic to be able to participate in our class. Great kids. I wish I could help them all, but I've got to preserve the whole. I will not go after the one. I will always preserve the whole. So our class size average, depending on location, is anywhere from 30 to 50 plus kids. People, not kids, people. But if your kid, I've had kids that are pretty autistic, but they can be in the class. They're not going to be a risk of danger to themselves or anyone else. I'll tell the parent, he's not going to be able to do everything we do, but it'll be a good environment for him to be in, and it will be good for him, and he will get something out of it. But I want to make sure that your expectations are appropriate. Your kid's 8 years old. He's not going to do everything all the 8-year-olds are doing. And if you're okay with that, well, then let's get started.
Yeah.
Now, if I can't put him in the class, we'll tell him, so you know what? He's not ready to participate in our group lessons. It wouldn't be safe for him or the other kids in the class. Someone might get kicked on accident, get hurt. It wouldn't be appropriate. So I don't think he's ready yet. Let's press pause and try this again, maybe in 6 months.
I want to expand Master Pesky's answer, and he said something that I think all of us should yield to, and that's this. You can't be all things to everyone. You got to be something to someone. When I first met Master Pesky, he was a very busy gentleman. Sir, just ramble off the list of programs you had at the time that we met. Tell the truth.
I can't remember them all.
I do. You had this thing called Q or Curse, or you had the Muay Thai stuff. You had the fitness program. You had the traditional Taekwondo. You had some kind of fight club action. And you're also doing a fitness kickboxing deal at the time.
Yeah.
We're also doing after-school pickup and limousines. And when I've sat down with you, I realized, oh, this gentleman's overworked. He looks very, very tired. And I said, listen, if you can keep an open mind, how about we shrink your operation, get really good at one thing? I'll give you an example. Lamborghini does not build family vans, but they're pretty good at what they build. The more exclusive you are, the more refined you are, the less you offer. Think about it for a moment. I mean, the average karate school in America runs itself like a New Jersey diner. And I've been to a bunch of them. Heck, you can have goulash at 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, you can have a breakfast at 3 in the afternoon. The problem with that concept in your martial art academy is that you'll get so busy, you ain't got time for business. And also, the more programs you add, you escalate your hard costs in personnel. You end up utilizing your prime time hours for something that might be a little less effective and profitable. Guys, pick one thing, and just be the best at it and charge a premium for it. And the one thing we decided, and we encourage you to consider it, is become a family-based organization. Families fix a lot of problems. Thank you, sir. Was there another question?
That is it. So let's do some takeaways and we will call it a day. Master Siley, what are we taking away from this Q&A today, sir?
On my notes from my training with my staff here, the conversation about money, I added to what we did a few weeks ago, and to always ask for permission before talking about the money. And what I'm adding to that, to when we ask for the decision, shouldn't be the first time they hear about money. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
So we should pre-roll, we should preview that. And then the pressure relief, if the answer is no, looks like now might not be the right time to leave the door open.
Yeah.
To be friendly and to be kind about it, to not put the pressure or make someone feel bad.
I haven't always been as nice as I am now, but I can remember just having no empathy for somebody who couldn't enroll. And then I just came to this realization that when people come into your academy and they don't enroll for whatever reason, they all experience a sense of disappointment. Oh, I wish it was this, not that. Oh, I wish I could afford it, but I can't. And I don't want people walking out of my academy feeling bad. And it's not because I'm concerned about reviews. I'm just concerned about people. If you really are going to be a membership-based organization where you promote the idea of families training together, you got to be nice, not sometimes, all the time. And and again, I'm getting on a soapbox here. This was a conversation I had recently, like this morning. Listen, common courtesy isn't that common after all. Think about that. And on my way in, I had to park on the far side for the convenience of the members. And I said hello to two people. Neither one of them acknowledged me and say hello back. And I thought, I don't think I looked that intimidating. They just must be unhappy. And it's very sad. But my point of bringing that up is this: if you really want to help more people, be helpful, be enthusiastic, be outgoing, go first, open doors, say thank you. And when it comes to sales, if they're not able to do it, just keep this in mind. They are disappointed that they can't. So let them down easily. And the one tactic that Master Pesky taught me was, if they can't sell, put the membership on hold. Well, it looks like now's not the right time, but that's okay. Hey, ma'am, let's do this. Let's put your membership on hold, the trial on hold. This way, when your circumstance changes, you can come back and take full advantage of the offer. Okay, that's what's best, okay? Be nice. Just be nice. So one of the challenges I have for you is that at least once a week, or maybe every other week, you and your staff sit down and practice being nice. And watch how it impacts your program. Because this is the job that emotionally can wear you out. So if you don't practice.
I have quite a few good.
I'm sorry. Go
ahead. I have a surprising number of good reviews from people who weren't able to join my program.
Oh, excellent. That's
we even got a referral from a mom who couldn't sign up the program because she had such a good experience. And the best way, if you have kids that are special needs, all the more reason to have a family program. Because I will tell you this, I think every autistic kid we have, we've told them, hey, in order for your kid to get the most out of this and show your support, you need to be out there with them. And so it's even easier to sign up the parents because it's almost a requisite that they need to be out there also. And so now, instead of them paying, $498 a month, now it's $996 a month. Or even if you have to chop it down, it's still $500 a month.
Yeah, big money.
All right. Well,
Miss Linda, I'm curious about Miss Linda. Miss Linda, what's your takeaway for today's training? What do you got?
I like how you actually opened it that because I was trying to figure out how I was going to fit everything into like our current existing thing, but you said have a theme for the month, and then you used that the new school year was coming up, so that might be a way for us to approach some of our members who are have been with us for a while about upgrading to a 3-year membership because we haven't ever done that.
Yeah, well, just and what the purpose of bringing that up is that you got to prime the pump. You need to start a conversation, and the best way to start a conversation with your members is to be helpful.
Right.
Be enthusiastic. Mr. Lewis, it's that time of year again. School's 3 weeks away, and everybody's schedule is going to be out of whack. So I want to get ahead of the 8 ball here, and here's what I have in mind. Let's you and I review the schedule together and decide which days are going to be Taekwondo days. And I'm going to keep my eye on your kid. Hold them accountable, and just have fun. And then once they realize, oh, he really is helping, he really is concerned for my kid, now we can have another conversation. We can talk about goal setting, perhaps investing in a higher membership, maybe taking advantage of a savings through a very simple offer. But the hardest part about selling is how do you get it kicked off? They kick that conversation off. What's up? No, share with them something that you're concerned with. So this month is about this schedule. Heck, this month can just bleed right into next month. But maybe after once you wear that out, then the next thing is talk about whether or not they're going to be around for Labor Day weekend. Hey, I've been watching your child's attendance, and heck, it looks like he's 11 classes away from getting his purple belt. Hey, I'm curious, during the Labor Day weekend, you guys going to be around? You going to take a week off, or just talk about anything to get the ball moving? Because the hardest part of any conversation is typically the first thing that's said. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. Dalton, what's your big takeaway, sir? You got to have one.
That no matter whatever you're asking for, you have to be confident with it.
Well, you knew that. You knew that coming in. So what tactic?
I think all the other things took all the good, like the stroking while talking here. Apparently, does it have fallbacks? But again, that no is like you don't want to end on a no, but no is an okay thing.
Yeah. One of the ideas we have for you is that offer what you want them to have, but have a fallback. And the fallback is one of two things. It's either a lesser amount of money or a lesser commitment. But you're not discounting, you're not doing any fancy footwork with the monies. You're simply lessening the amount of money to begin, but they'll end up paying the same tuition. Or you lessen the level of commitment. Like somebody said, oh, we're not going to be here 4 years. Well, I'll fall back to a second degree. So now we need 24 months. And that strategy will serve you well. Hey, I need one more from the peanut gallery and we'll set you free. One takeaway from the guys with their phones off. Their cameras off. What about you, Todd? I don't think we've met. There he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look
I was on the
familiar.
other day with
Yeah, good to see you. So what's your big takeaway?
changing the way you think about the money.
There we go. Specifically
Yeah.
what?
As far as tuition limitations, what people willing to pay, and understand the value. I actually used the tactic, changed it up the other day, changed what we did. I already raised our prices up based on what you guys are doing, and realized I was just not that far off of what I need to be anyways for asking for the basic program. And I had somebody come in that was a former student, been gone for probably 7, 8 years. That came back and got him started. Use the same the initial down payment, first and last. Didn't miss a beat. They paid a ride up like clockwork. So I just went.
Well, listen, I'm not trying to depress you, but if you were to go back 5 years and do the math, where if you had collected that $500, what it would have meant to you is just sobering, guys. The truth is, a lot of us were convinced that if we made our program seemingly more affordable, we'd make up in volume. Don't ever fall for that again. If you want to be perceived as a premium service, do two things. Learn how to present the benefits of your program and ask for real money. And everything gets better. Very good. Thank you, Todd, for coming on. All right, let's wrap it up, Master Pesky.
All right, everyone have a wonderful day. For you guys that are on our Black Belt group, we'll see some of you guys tomorrow morning. Ms. Nelson, we have a call tomorrow morning, right, ma'am? All right. And heck, let's go do it. Let's go do it. Let's help more people.
Let's
Let's help
go.
more people. Have a great day. All right, bye everybody.
All right. So the question is concerning the idea that if you're coming off of an 8-week testing cycle, how do you embrace the attendance space? Well, first off, let's do some ancient history here and explain why we came to the decision to go attendance based. You know, one of the things we got to realize is that the whole idea of rank advancement was invented way back in the early 60s, maybe the late 50s, where it was an American invention to put colored belts around the waist that represent a certain level of accomplishment or expertise. So it was made up some 40, 50 years ago, and it served the industry well. But the moment that most owner operators decided they wanted to make this a full-time career and commitment, that jammed up the works. Like, for example, if I say, hey, we're all going to meet September 15th, who's in? Chances are nobody in this call can even tell us what's happening September 15th. So one of the challenges with the traditional method of testing that most organizations use a day and date, where on this particular day, based on what's happened previous up to that point, we're going to do a certification, a testing where you do your stuff and you pass or fail. That works great if you have 30 or 40 students. As a matter of fact, if you have that many students, you can afford to have that level of complexity as far as getting people ready for the next level rank. But the problem is, we're a for-profit organization. We need a whole bunch of people, and to try to funnel somebody into a day and date is almost impossible to get the entire academy behind it. Now, a lot of guys say, wait a minute, I got a solution. We don't do a day, we do a whole week, which further complicates things, because here's the part that most people never get. To coordinate a day and date testing, whether it's conducted on one day or over the span of a few, there's a lot of moving parts to that. And the first part is, how can you get everyone ready simultaneously? Because you can't control attendance. You know, Timmy misses 2 weeks, he's behind the 8 ball, and what do? We try to scurry to get him ready. But here's the real problem. As you prepare for a testing, you are creating a distraction that costs you more than you realize. And Linda, I'll ask, typically, since you're having this testing coming up in about 4 weeks, roughly, where's your attention going right now? Oh, don't tell me. Getting them ready for the event. In concert with that, we're also chasing down the certification fees if you charge them. Do you charge them?
We
Okay.
do.
So for 2 or 3 weeks outside the date of testing, we're no longer exercising the practice that's needed to build your academy. We're not marketing for new students. We're not enrolling people. We're not upgrading. We're focused on this event. But it gets even worse. 1 week after the day and date testing is typically there's a scramble to get your students back in. So can we agree that testing creates a 3-week distraction every time you do it? And how many times a year do you want to test your students?
Right now we've been doing it 6.
All right, so 6 times 3 is 18 divided by 4. What is that? Somebody do the math on 18 divided by 4. That's 4.5 months of the calendar year you're not focused on your business. And if you look at your history, this is why the income does this before and after testing. And it's a vicious cycle. Okay, what I'm about to say, we've been lying about for maybe the first 40 years of my career, and we didn't get it right until about 10 years ago, and here it is. Students progress at their own rate of speed. That's never been a truthful statement. No. They progress at our rate of speed based on these barriers we structure, trying to get people in play. Testing is a horrible idea if you want to generate an active count north of 100 people. You simply can't keep track of it. As a matter of fact, my recommendation is don't even start doing day-to-day testing because there's too much pressure on everybody to perform, get people ready, and the fact is if they miss their testing date, all is lost. Because all your students, Linda, that ever quit, they have this in common. They didn't graduate to their next belt. If there's no sense of progress, if there's no ambition to pursue rank, that's why people drop out. So what we did was we did the math based on averages. And what we figured out is that on average, based on how we did things traditionally, it takes about 3 years for a student to go from white belt to black belt testing. If they're coming 2 times a week, well, let's do the math. That's about 300 classes. So we based everything about a advancement based on 300 lessons to black belt. And then what we did then was we chopped it up based on a certain number of classes. A stripe would be awarded. Based on earning a certain number of stripes, then they're awarded their next belt. We do charge testing fees. My recommendation, it should be approximately 50% of your lowest level membership. So anywhere between 50 and $100 based on where you are in the country. Our certification fees right now are $75. We have 10 of them. Now, what's really cool about this, the attendance-based rank certification, is that a student can go at their own pace. There's no pass or fail. They're simply putting in the work to be advanced. And you could actually, if you like, encourage your students to prepay all their certification fees up to black belt. So it's an enormous impact financially. But what's really great about it is that it takes the pressure off of everyone, and they're rewarded for what is repeated, and that's their performance on the mat coming to class. So on average, if you had to count it up, how long and how many lessons does a student have to go through to earn a black belt in your organization? What do you think the count is?
Well, ours is like 5 years to black belt.
Okay, so are they coming 2 times a week?
2 times a week, yes.
So 500 classes.
Yep.
Okay, so here's the magic question. This is meant to help. How many active black belts do you have?
38.
In one of our studios, are just shy of 200 active black belts here in Jacksonville. In Sacramento, I think the average active count of black belts is probably in the neighborhood of 80 to 100. And so it's a dynamic retention tool. Now, is 5 years too long? Well, you can pick and choose, but I think the sweet spot is to afford someone the opportunity to set their own pace. Check this out. Because we do attendance-based rank certification, a student can actually set their plan for their goal. Like, for example, we have a membership where a student can commit to 3 lessons per week. The tuition rate for that is $299. And if they come 3 times a week, they could accomplish the rank of black belt within 24 to 28 months. If you think about it, you think, well, Fred, is that too fast? Well, let me ask you a question. Do you know these names? Joe Lewis, Bill Wallace, Joe Corley, Bill Clark. Who else can I mention? Mike Stone, Jeff Smith. Any of these names sound familiar? What they all have in common is all of them, without exception, earned their black belt in about a time frame of a year. Yeah, and the reason why it was a year, went to Korea or went to Japan, went to Okinawa, whatever. They were stationed there for 9 to 18 months. They earned the black belt. So this idea that black belt is the finish line, I think is the wrong way to pursue your business. Because the truth is, the closer somebody gets to a finish line, the less effort is applied. I mean, look at foot races. Haven't you ever noticed that a person is running, let's say, a 5K or a half marathon? As they get up to the finish line, they kind of, oh, I've made it. Listen, black belt is the beginning, not the end. And to stage it for 5 years, that might sound like a big deal, but the truth of the matter is not as many people make it. So let's do the math on what percentage of your student body earns black belt. So if you were to look at last 12 months and count up all the people enrolled, what would your projection be based on your experience as far as the number of people who would advance to black belt? 5%, 10%, 20%, 50%? How many make it?
I would say that enrolled and then make it to black belt, we're probably in like the 7% range.
Well, what would happen if you were in the 20% plus range?
Right.
Everything changes for the better for 3 reasons. Number one is longevity is the key to our business. We got to keep students longer. But second, we can now prepare these folks that are dedicated, committed students to perhaps help us, maybe even start a career. But the third thing, perhaps the most important part, is this. This is where all your help will come from. Your help will come from the most sternly devoted and committed students. Like, for example, we sell memberships that will take a student all the way to 3rd, 4th, even 5th degree black belt. And it makes sense because they understand how they're going to get there. But to take 5 years to earn a black belt, my vote is that might be too long. Might be too long. But first of all, I do want to congratulate you. If it's taken 5 years and 7 out of 100 students that start make black belt, congratulations. That's a unicorn. The average karate school has less than 2% of their students that they've ever enrolled make it to black belt because they make it such an arduous journey. And part of the reason why we were able to make that change was that we realized what we wanted our program to do. You know, not everyone is fitted for competition or world championship or being a real badass or even becoming an instructor. But I know martial arts can have an impact on helping people just become better people. And that's our goal. But black belt is the beginning, not the end. In our mind's eye, in our imagination, black belt's like a high school education. Great. Finish your 12 years. Here's your diploma. Let's go have a beer. But the real education begins after high school, just like the real education martial art begins at the point of black belt. Now, the challenge you're going to run into is, well, that occasional student said, well, I liked it. We had to earn our belts. Buddy, that's probably not as true as you think. Come on, tell the truth, shame that devil. How many times we made exceptions for testing or did makeups or did a few extra classes to get them revved up? It's all smoke and mirrors, almost like a facade. I want you to put in the work, and you will earn class credit providing you put forth the effort that I know you're capable of. And I think this amps up the connection to your students, because the other way, getting people ready for this day and date experience, I think discourages more than encourages. And you may not have that full realization now, but as you move forward, you're going to realize, oh my goodness, I wish I'd done this 10 years ago. Now, let's take it a step further. Statistically, 80 to 90, maybe 95% of your students are under the age of 12. Do you fit that category?
Yes, I would say, yeah, we're in like the 70%.
And you know why?
I believe it's because of testing and the fear of, to memorize everything.
You've made it too difficult for the adults. We all heard this, like after high school, most people never read a book again. Even in college, don't read the whole book. They read those, what were those yellow little bulletins called? There's like abbreviation of the book. Yeah, footnotes. Yeah, footnotes. So what does that have to do with martial arts? Most adults can't even touch their toes. They're physically deconditioned. They've been discouraged more than encouraged as far as taking care of themselves physically. Everything from developing their strength, their coordination, their flexibility, cardiovascular endurance. I mean, a parent will drag their kid and say, well, he's a couch potato. Well, lady, I know where he gets that. However, if we modify how we promote people, if we make some adjustments in our class where mom, dad, and the kids can work together, you'll build an enormous organization. Enormous. And the truth is, we want the client to also become the customer. Because the way it works right now is that the client is the parent, customer is the kid. What if we got the mother involved? And the way you get the mother involved is, well, you have to take this seemingly radical step of changing the dynamic of rank promotion. And I want to reward what I prefer to be repeated, and that's you got to show up. You got to put in the work. And what you'll find is your students will realize how important it is to attend class, and their consistency skyrockets. This is the key to retention. You can still charge the same money for certification fees. As a matter of fact, when everyone understands that they'll be able to do it and train at their own rate of speed, more people will sign on to prepaid certifications. I'm going to tell you a story that's the absolute God's honest truth. In 2003, Master Clark, were you here? Was he on the call when you stepped on? We just did a conference call. But anyway, in 2003, he said, Mr. Burns, what can we do about getting more people fully engaged in the certification method? And back then we did day and date testings where we did an 8-week cycle, 16 classes required, half the time that it wasn't fulfilled. I said, well, why don't we encourage people to prepay all of them? And in calendar year 2003, we generated over $1 million in certification fees. Now, at that time, we had 33 locations. But if you divide $1 million by $55 per test, we sold 18,000 certifications. You think, well, Fred, now you're kind of boasting about the money, but what did it really do? What it really did was further commit our students to stick and stay. Listen, if our students knew how much we wanted them to be successful, they'd never quit. But the problem is we confuse them with terms of what success actually looks like. No, Tommy, you got to turn left, not turn right. Come on. Tommy's 6 years old. He has some challenges. He's not very athletically inclined. We have no idea what he goes home to. Why don't we be more encouraging as opposed to discouraging? And this also opened up the door for us to modify our curriculum and how we deliver it so we could actually help more people. I tell you, once you make this turn and go attendance-based, you will never look back. Never. Now, once they earn the black belt, I think things need to be ratcheted up significantly. But on their way to black belt, let's allow them to progress at their own rate of speed. Let's help them actualize whatever natural potential they may have. But let's help them develop that sense of stick-to-itiveness and discipline that's required to be successful, not just on the mat, but in life. You know, Woody Allen, who I don't enjoy, said something that I agree with, and success is 90% showing up. If you can get your students to show up 300 times in a time frame of 36 months, some incredible things will happen for everybody, everyone. We have another level of membership that's completely unrestricted. The tuition rate is $349. A student can train up to 5 times a week. They could earn their black belt in 18 months. But that's the beginning, not the end. So as you roll this out, don't use the word change, use the word improvement. You know, after many years of helping families in my community, I found a way to improve my delivery system and success of my students. And that is to allow students to afford them the opportunity to progress at their own rate of speed based on their schedule and their effort on the mat. And listen, you're going to hear some crazy things said. Oh my goodness, I wish this was the way you guys did it when I first enrolled. And parents are going to say, you know, I'll give this a try. Now, there's a few other things you can do too if you want to attract more parents. In your academy, do you have mirrors on the wall? Cover them. Watch what happens. Don't take them down, just cover them. And watch how inviting that mat appears to the average adult. Also, some other tactics I'm sure that Master Pesky is helping you with as far as class structure, line up by height, you know, putting dots on the floor, having better structure, delivering a program where everyone can do the same thing the same way at the same time under the same instructor. It's absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. And what this also does too, and I don't know if you have the ambition opening clubs or additional locations, but it allows you to train people that based on how we've done things previously had already disqualified themselves as instructors. You know, well, I don't have that level of athleticism. I'm not a competitor. I'm not this, I'm not that. Well, sometimes the way you train your students and the direction you take them, you begin to kind of dissolve any interest somebody might have about becoming part of your staff. And the one thing I know is that we all utilize additional help, particularly help that it's enthusiastic about what they're doing, how they're doing it. And this shift, I take full credit. This shift happened about 10 years ago. And after careful evaluation, as far as the studios I was able to help, because one of the advantages I have, Linda, is that I've got an enormous laboratory. I've got 16 locations here in Florida under Grandmaster Clark. I have 43 locations under Sergio von Schmeling. He's Victory Martial Arts. And we're able to test stuff out. So anything we recommend or suggest to you, I could actually go back and explain the path we took and why we came to the conclusion that this was a better way. So that was a big old answer to your question. So did I cover all of it, or do you have some additional concern?
No, I have another question.
Fire away.
So if we can sell additional membership so that they can cut the time in half, whether it's instead of 3 years of black belt, 2 years, or 1 and a half, right? Or 18 months. How do we structure our curriculum so that they get what they need to know to get to black belt? Or is that not even really
Well, see, that's the $1 million question. What do they get? What do they have to know?
Right.
You know, so, and this is where you evaluate your rotating curriculum. And, you know, and again, we can simplify it. I think the average karate school has made it so complicated. A student has to wade through the chop suey to know what to do. That was meant to be funny. But think about it for a moment. You know, how many years we have said, oh, no, here's your new curriculum. A person invests all the time, energy, effort, get ready for testing. And go, okay, now we're moving on to something else. Where most other systems similar to martial arts, they don't do that. You know, I don't know if you've ever practiced yoga or maybe been a part of a dance studio, but there's a restricted amount of material that's needed to become the athlete in that genre. And the truth of the matter is we made it so complicated, thinking the more complicated we make it, the more valuable it may seem, but nothing could be further from the truth. I'm not worried about how much you know over the course of the next 12 months. I'm concerned that you'll be with me for the next 10 years. We have staff members that started as white belts that have been with us for 25 years. So you're not going to find too many organizations that can boast about that, because our instructor, Grandmaster Clark, has seen through all the smoke and mirrors and facade of trying to make your program so complicated. Because the average person, the average instructor thinks, if I make it complicated, if I make it hard to reach, well, it'll be more valuable. No. If somebody can't do it or they can't see themselves becoming successful, they'll drop out as quickly as you enroll them. Which brings it to another point. You want to keep students? We all do, right? To reduce your attrition rate, it's real simple. A student has to feel a sense of progress. They have to recognize what they're being rewarded for. And there's one more thing I want to add to this mix. Okay, and I'll add it by asking you a question. Does black belt equal instructor?
Not in our school.
Excellent. It doesn't. They're two separate paths. Because a lot of people, you train your students like they're going to become an instructor. Train your students, and when they identify they like to become instructor, then you put them on a different path. And the intensity changes, the requirements change. And we have a program we launched a few years ago here in Florida called Coach. And Coach is an additional layer of training to prepare the more athletically minded instructor to perhaps one day become a teacher. But attendance-based ranked certification, it resolves a lot of issues, a lot of problems. And the main problem is consistent attendance, because we're not rewarding that. And I know in my career, there's been hundreds, if not thousands of times, I got the kid ready for testing 72 hours out from the testing start time. And, looking back, I really did think I was doing what was best, but nah, I wasn't. I want somebody to show up in full force time and time again.
So with the 3 years, does your average student typically promote every, let's see, 2 times 8, 16?
Well, in Jacksonville, it's different. In Jacksonville, it's 30 classes per rank. You get a stripe each on class 10, 20, and class 30. Okay. In California, with my deal with Master Pesky, is 16. You get a stripe on class 4, 8, 12, 16, you're awarded a rank.
And do you know how long it takes the average student in those schools to promote, like, let's say that 16 class? Like, does it take them 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks?
Well, that's a great question, and let me address it this way. What if you put them in charge of their attendance and the tuition reflected that? Jot this down. 1 time a week, $199. 1 to 2 times a week, $249. 1 to 3 times a week, $299. 1 to 4 times a week, well, you probably guessed it, $349. Unrestricted, $399. Our average tuition rate here in Jacksonville, I'm going to say $300. And the cool thing about somebody paying $300, everyone is taking that relationship seriously. Students who pay more, they pay longer. Why? Because they're more deeply involved. That kid is only coming once a week for $199 or anything less than that. He won't be here at the end of summer. Because that has a lot to do with a student paying testing is almost like the litmus test for their consideration and commitment. Yeah. Now, why do we do it 1 time a week? Well, sometimes you got to make adjustments, but I want somebody to start so I can get them to stay. But typically, when we first enroll people, the go-to is $249 a month. And when we upgrade, we typically add $100 a month to their tuition because they want to come 3-4 times a week. Now, here's the part that's going to blow your mind. I think the number of times we ask a student to come to your academy gets in the way of retention. But what if I told you that you could show up at the academy and not just take 1 lesson and get credits for 2? So now, less trips, more training. Because what we have to realize is that the more frequently you invite or ask or have a student show up, the less likely you'll have them over the course of time. Unless you compress your schedule where a student could actually take more than one lesson per day. I know I did. I earned my black belt less than 3 years. So you can manipulate your tuition based on class attendance. And it doesn't have to be that regimented, 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, but you can start them out some way. Like, for example, what I would recommend for you, Linda, is that your entry level membership, whatever you choose to call it, let's say for this conversation, we're going to call it basic. Basic affords a student the opportunity to come to 1 to 2 times per week, $249. When you upgrade them now, they can modify their tuition to come more frequently to class, not more frequently to your academy. This is another key ingredient to retention. You know, one of the things that we got to keep in mind is that I don't think kids quit. I don't think they quit. I think they're encouraged to quit because the mother is discouraged. What is she discouraged about? That drive time. See, you and I have long forgotten what it's like to drive during prime time hours trying to get somebody somewhere. You know, I remember I'll share this with you. I was in New Jersey at a small chain of karate schools called Martial Arts America. There's still studios carrying that banner all over the country. But anyway, I remember when I finally got to the stage where I had trained staff where I didn't have to be there all the time. I just had to be there some of the time. That was a big promotion for me, right? And I remember I was in Edison, New Jersey. I remember the first afternoon, I was actually in my car driving around like 4:30, 5:30 in the afternoon. And I could not believe the traffic because, Linda, I had not seen it. I mean, I lived in a karate school, you know? So we fail to realize the impact that that has on parents because that 12-year-old kid that's going to come to class tonight, he didn't drive himself. So if you can reduce the drive time, the number of trips, but increase their participation, it's a win-win. It's a win-win.
So I'm also because I'm kind of new to this, making the assumption then that all ranks are in every class.
That's my preference. And,
okay.
and my parents enrolled me in 1974. I was a little kid. That's back in the day when young people didn't take martial arts. And back then, you had one class. You had the class. And there was everyone from a white belt to an advanced degree black belt in the lesson. And the instructor had the ability to train the class at least half the time at the same time. And he would break the class up based on rank or requirements back in the olden times. But this idea that we have to have rank and age specific classes is a great idea, but it doesn't work very well. And the reason why it doesn't work very well is that there's no rhyme or reason to the number of students you have and their ages or even their ranks. So let's go old school and line everyone at the same time. And the way you advance the training isn't by rank, but by program. I'll give you an example. Your Taekwondo background, right?
No, karate, Ishinryu.
Oh, that's even more structured. Don't tell me the first kick you learned how to do was a front kick, second kick was a side kick, third kick with a round kick. Meanwhile, round kicks were the easiest kick to kick.
Yep, that's true.
So we got locked into this system, this rhythm, because that's the way they did it. But they did it at a time where even the idea of a commercial viable academy was out in the distant future. My instructor, Grandmaster Clark, was one of the first commercial full-time academies in the United States. He opened up late 70, 71. So, back in those old, I was a judo player as a young kid, and a part of Betty Davis Judo Club in Jacksonville, Florida. We rolled up to a recreational center. And the classes were Monday and Wednesday, and they laid down the big mattress, mattress pads and cover it with a canvas. That was a karate school back then. But now look at it, man. We're signing leases. Some of our locations here in Jacksonville, the rent is over $10,000 a month. Listen, you got to do big volume in order to help your staff earn a professional wage. So you may want to reconsider how you're delivering the training. Because one of the things you got to keep in mind too is class capacity. A class of 2 is a whole different experience for everyone compared to a class of 22. And a class of 40, that's fun for everybody. So by compressing classes and putting more ranks in, and training everyone the same thing, the same way at the same time. There could be division based on program. And the way you do that is you do what I call class extensions. Maybe the first 30, 40 minutes is basic. Then something magical happens at the 40-minute mark. Then the class morphs into a black belt training segment where we introduce weapons or more advanced techniques or breaking boards. And then even later on, it might morph into another program called leadership, where now we're coaching them up on how to engage people, communication. So same class, different lesson based on who you are and what membership you're in. And I'll tell you where this came from. This came from yoga. I am a real yoga enthusiast. I mean, I'll build my schedule around yoga class. I do the Bikram height yoga, the 90 minutes and all that. I love it. And what I learned from my involvement in yoga was that they have it figured out. And let me tell you how well they have it figured out. How many people you think are yoga practitioners in America? Well, hold on. I'm going to get the actual numbers for you, okay? And I'm going to drive a point home, so bear with me. Okay, do the research to determine how many people in North America practice yoga consistently compared and contrasted to people involved in martial art program. What's the breakdown? I want ages and number of people. Just be a moment. If you guys aren't using Chat GPT, it makes me feel so smart. All right, here we go. It's analyzing, but we'll get back to it. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Okay, these are 2022 numbers, right? Well, this is real detailed. Okay, here we go. Okay, in this report, that 2022, roughly 40 million adults practice yoga. 3.8 million adults practice martial arts. So who's getting it right? Because both lay claim to the same benefits: cardiovascular endurance and efficiency, muscular strength, flexibility, coordination, a sense of wellness. The only difference between yoga and martial arts is that, well, in yoga, you knock their teeth out. But if you think about it, what is real self-defense? Real self-defense is projecting an air of confidence. Listen, I'm not a tough guy, but nobody messes with me. I project the air of confidence. Where did that come from? It came from martial arts, getting in front of people, doing presentations, training, taking myself to the limit. Listen, we take martial arts so we don't have to fight. However, the average person doesn't think they can do martial arts. The proof is in the memberships. Literally 10 times more people are involved in yoga than martial arts. Why is that? Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, because we're doing it wrong. We're doing it wrong. We're making them wade through the chop suey. And the truth is, I want a lifelong student, not a kid who gets ready for a tournament. And if you want lifelong students, particularly with young people, you got to get their parents involved, or the parent has to realize how well the child is doing, and they stop comparing them to other kids. Come on, Linda, I know you've heard it. Hey, why'd that kid get the blue belt? He's not as good as that other kid. Come on, you've heard that. Yeah. Or how about this? No, Linda, my child's not ready for testing. Lady, what makes you the expert? I mean, you could barely walk in here on your own. I mean, come on. So we want to eliminate all that so we can actually help more people and help more people benefit from martial arts. Different way of looking at it. It is a game changer. But what if they don't try hard in class? Well, that's your fault. So now what you can do is you can leverage the credit. Tommy, I got to tell you, young man, I'm a little disappointed. I expect a little bit more from you today. I want you to give me your best, because if you do not, I will not be able to give you full class credit. Now, pick up the pace. You have no idea the impact that has. And parents say, that's right. That's right. Come on, Tommy. Get serious, Tommy. And that's how everybody wins. So, yeah, Don't make a big deal about it. Just maybe at your testing, if you want to make an announcement, just say, hey, listen, I've been doing this for as many years I've been doing it. I've learned a lot of lessons. And one of the things that I'm gravely disappointed is that it's unfortunate, but not everyone who starts stays. And my goal is for everyone who begins in my academy one day earn the prestigious rank of black belt, regardless how long it takes. And unfortunately, I've set up some barriers, and one of them is the way that we test. And the way that we test is crippling for the people who need our help the most. So what I figured out is this. I need to allow my students to progress at their own rate of speed and reward what is necessary and needed. And that says show up and train. I'm recording this so I can send that dialogue to you after the fact. And let people know that you really want to help more people. Because I admit it, I'm embarrassed, but back in the olden times, I used to weed the weak ones out. Oh, no, Mrs. Lewis, he's not ready for his orange belt. What am I talking about? If I didn't get the kid ready and I'm still taking the tuition, who's not being honest? And we talk about integrity. Well, let's back it up by allowing students to progress at their own rate of speed under our guidance and help them actualize whatever potential they may have. Because the way I look at it, if you draw a line in your paper, just a little line, about 3-4 inches long, and put little markers at the end of each. And I want you to draw 3 hash marks. A hash mark that represents 20% of that line, a hash mark that represents 70% of that line, and a hash mark for 10%. All right, so let me tell you what you just did. That 10%, God sent those students. They're the kid that sees a pattern once and they're able to do it. That's the kid that's saying, split, I can do all 3 of them. That's the kid who's enthusiastic, outgoing, he's naturally athletic, and he wants to bring home the gold. On the other end of that spectrum, you got 20% of the students that really need your help. And the truth is, athletically, they're not so inclined. However, as I said a moment ago, the people that need your help the most are the first group we weed out if we don't allow them to apply themselves with best effort and reward that. But on average, 70%. You know, the average student who walks in, I don't care if he's 7 or 70, can't touch his toes, is one-sided, either can only use their right or only use their left. Coordination might be a bit of a challenge. Strength may be not developed. I want to help everybody. Now, I will provide additional levels of intensity and training for those who want it, and that's where the upgrade came in. We have 5 levels of training. We have basic, black belt, leadership, coach, and charter. In each membership that I mentioned, there's a higher level of intensity and requirements to participate. And that also requires an adjustment in the tuition. And when you look at your students, the question you got to ask is, what's best for them next? And what's best for them next is to guide them to the next commitment so they can get more from the membership, more from your program. Yeah, I heard this a long time ago, and I just thought it was so clever. You know, you want a student who's committed, like at breakfast. The chicken participated, but the pig, he was committed. I mean, you want students who are committed, not just mildly curious. And how do we do that? We allow them to understand how they will progress, what requirements are needed, what requirements are necessary. And we help them set long-term ambitious goals that require hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of training. But if 7% of your active membership are black belts, congratulations. 5% is good. Anything north of 5% is great. Our success rate here in Jacksonville is about 23, maybe 24%. Isn't that wild? Master Likes has been down here a couple of times. He's seen some of our black belt testings. Make mention of it, sir.
Extremely impressive, not just in multiple styles of martial arts, from Krav Maga to Fight Club to traditional martial arts. And besides the skill level, their instructors are amazing. I mean, all the modern teaching technologies they have, from proper way to praise, correct the students, to encourage the students, how to demonstrate their enthusiasm on the mat. Skill set all the way around. And in the office, serious about business. You know, the Master Clark trains his students twice a week for 50+ years. And these guys are sharp. They run it like a professional business. One thing I noticed about that attendance with Master Ray was saying on how many people now there's attendance based, because people like to be rewarded. Kids love to play games. They realize that they want to come to class now because they're going to get their belts quicker. So that's tremendously helped retention out, and it's making the upgrade program much easier. It affects on so many different levels, that new concept.
Yeah, well, you know, one of the things you got to keep in mind is that we got to reward what we want repeated. What we want repeated is them to show up, and to get them to show up, they have to be rewarded for their effort. But most importantly, there has to be a clear understanding of how they go from point A to point B. And they put the work in on the mat, and once the work has been accomplished, we award the rank in class. We don't make a big deal about it because it's not a big deal to us until after they earn the rank of black belt. I hope that helped. So, ma'am, how are you doing with some of the improvements that are being directed by Master Pesky?
Yeah, so I think like the biggest thing was just we're working on like switching it over because we're in the middle of a cycle, and I wasn't really sure if we should do it right in the middle of the cycle. But we're committed to switching over to that, and then we're working on right now the different level of programs, because we have to go from, and trying to figure that out, we have to go from all the different levels that we have, like a beginner, intermediate. Like we don't have just one class for all ranks. So ours is broken out by beginner, intermediate, black belt candidate, and then black belt.
Okay, so your schedule reflects rank.
Correct.
How's class attendance?
Well, I'm trying to think, like right now with let me just take a quick peek because they report it to me. Let's see what we did last week during
If you just guesstimate the number of students that show up for each lesson on average.
Yeah, so I would say right now we're about 70% looking at the stats right here. So
70%
last week, 70% of the students came last week.
Okay. Now, what you're going to find is that sometimes attendance dips the closer testing is. Oh, I'm not ready. I'll just pick up after testing. So it is discouraging. But here's something else you got to look at to make sure you're knocking it out of the park each time you're up to bat. And that is, am I hitting class capacity in every lesson I teach? And class capacity are the number of students you can put on the mat, and you can control that group. So let me just give you an example. Let's say that my mat size is 1,000 square feet. With 1,000 square feet, I can put 25 students on the mat. That's full capacity. My goal for that class is 80% capacity every time they line up. So that class has to have 20 students each and every time. If it doesn't have 20 students, I got to make some adjustments. Small classes are difficult for everyone involved. Small classes prevent growth. Small classes is what makes you physically and emotionally exhausted by the end of the night. You know, we don't add classes because we have an additional rank. We add classes because we have more people. And that's where you got to kind of back off and be a little less sensitive to rank-specific material, because it simply does not work as well as what we're discussing now. Does it work? Yes. Does it work as well as you like? Never. Never. I mean, come on. You've been doing this for a long. How many years you been teaching, miss?
About 30.
Woo! You walk out of the mat, and there's 3 students. Walk out in the mat, and there's 33 students. Which do you prefer?
Right.
Oh, so, yeah. So does everyone else.
Our floor is huge, so.
What square footage you have?
Well, the whole facility is 5,800 square feet, and about 4,200 is floor.
But you're doing camps and after school, right?
Yeah, we have summer camp and we have after school program.
Yeah. So just determine what your target class size is, and that's the goal. Yeah, we have different size studio. Our smallest studio is 1,500 square feet. Our largest is 6,500. The 6,500 square footer has we have 2 of those. We have 2 practice floors. That was by accident, not intentional design. We just got a super duper deal on the lease. Thought, well, we'll just have 2 practice floors. We'd never do it again, but the leases are so inexpensive, we're going to hang in there. But the problem is, it doesn't matter when you walk by, not much going on in there. Come on, tell the truth. It's a Friday night, looking for a place to eat. You drive by the restaurant, there's no one there. It's 7 o'clock, there's no one there. The guy across the street, there's a line outside. Where are you having dinner? You know, the truth in numbers. So as you get closer to this last testing cycle, start decide your schedule based solely on who can show up. You know, we all know there's a sweet spot. Typically, a sweet spot is 5:30 to about 7 o'clock at night. That's where the bulk of your students are going to come. Make adjustments for it. Also, there's something else too I want to share with you before you tap out on this call. Our industry, the martial art business, has been sorely affected by the fitness clubs. And the fitness clubs figured out years ago that they don't want people to show up. And you know how they do it? They're open all the time. For example, the average big box gym is open 16, 18 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week. Why do they do that? Well, they do that as a sales tactic. Well, it's overly convenient. I'll go. But what happens to the member is, I'll go tomorrow. Listen, if there's no deadline, if there's no restriction, people show up less. I mean, come on. Are you familiar with Planet Fitness?
Yeah, I know the owners.
I'm sorry?
I know the original owners.
No
because they're
kidding.
from our state.
I had no idea.
Yeah, they lived in Dover. So
Wow. Well, do you know how many memberships are active with Planet Fitness?
yeah, their goal is not to have members show up because then they don't have to replace the equipment or do any upgrades or any of that sort of stuff.
Check this
Instead
out.
of to pay like $10 a month.
Yeah, check this out. They have 18 million active members, active in terms of making payments. As far as show rate, less than 2 million. So they have like 17% of their membership showing up. We're not in that game. See, if I make a class available every single day, less people will show up. They'll show up and they'll show up less often. Convenience doesn't help. I want commitment. Where you don't use it, you lose it. You know, classes at 7, you got to be there. And one of the things we've done in some of our studios is that we only teach Monday through Thursday. We want everybody to show up. Friday nights, typically a waste of time. Saturday, hit or miss. Come on, enjoy a 3-day weekend and watch how you show up on Monday. So it's a different strategy. Now, if a operator wants to be there 5-6 days a week, I'm cool with that. I'm okay with that. However,
can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you, when your people enroll, do they have to make a commitment what days they're coming?
It's a verbal consideration. After they enroll, we review the schedule based on their membership. We say, well, Mrs. Lewis, let's go ahead and decide the 2 classes you'll attend each week. Now, in the event that you can't make it, let us know and we'll make an adjustment.
All right.
You got to start with the commitment. Now, it's not written in stone. I mean, they can change. Bless you, sir. They can change when they're coming, but I got to start with the end in mind and what I want. I want us to be consistent. And when you reduce the number of times they come per week, you increase consistency. Well, very good. Well, you just had a little private one-on-one, man.
I know, that was fortunate. Not for you, but for me.
Oh, it was great. Hey, listen, you know, the fact that you've been in the game for 30 years, you've made more mistakes than most. Hopefully you've learned from all of them. But now what we're doing is that we're not trying to fix a mistake. We're trying to make an improvement. Because obviously with 7% of your active count black belts, you've done great. Now we need to improve it. But if you change that 7 to 14 or to 21, your life changes remarkably because you end up having more deeply committed, more active students that can help you. So now you can reclaim the time that you don't have availability for. Yeah. You know, listen, making money, okay, congratulations. Once you do that, making more time, impossible. It's impossible. So you can't make more time. You just have to control your time. Right. You can control your time by leveraging the schedule for everything in your academy, from certification for the whole testing format to number of classes. Because that's the one thing we can't get back. I always get more money. I always make more friends, but I can't make more time. So I have to be very careful with it. And we don't want dead time. The young lady who was on the call before before she bounced off, her name is Heather Stevens. She teaches 2 nights a week, 2 classes a night. Her personal income is north of 100,000 a year. That is running an academy correctly. You know, oh, it's can't only be about the money. Well, money represents the value you delivered. You can't trick parents into paying you 100 grand a year, 2 nights a week, unless you're doing most things, if not all things, correctly. Very good. All right. Well, I got to gear up for the next call. In the meantime, thank you so much.